Hello, everybody. Welcome to Roundtable Live for June 2nd, 2017. I am BaerTaffy, joined by Mathis Games, Rockley Smile, Northern Lion, and joining us again, honorary member of the Roundtable crew, getting more and more excited as I say it, it's AlpacaPatrol!
It's me!
It's you! Going? He's here!
Gotta compensate him somehow.
Yeah,
ain't with money.
Jeez.
Bear, your sleeves are a different color than the rest of your shirt.
I was gonna say,
right, man,
shit, I didn't notice that.
Straight up, putting this thing on, the only thing that crossed my mind is how long will it take for them to point it out?
I saw it immediately. I just didn't want to be rude.
Less than 2 minutes. It was the show opener, even. It's
I like
color.
your triangle though on the front.
That's a good triangle.
It's got some jewels on it. This is.
Is it a t-shirt under a tank top?
No.
I think it's attached.
It's a one-part t-shirt.
This is a one-part T-shirt. Yeah.
The pattern is
European.
totally. It's
it does
very different.
look like actually there's a little bit of.
You don't like the look?
I said it was European. That's not a bad thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing. This is a TGN shirt actually. This is one of my.
I don't like your triangle
Explains
anymore.
everything.
So this is from my wardrobe of shirts given to me, which is I think the entirety of it at this point. I think I've got probably a dozen shirts that I wear, all of which were either purchased from my Twitch celebrity friends or given to me by various people.
You buy shirts from your Twitch celebrity friends?
Hold on, what you got there?
That's a Kate shirt, and Mathis has his own shirt on.
On brand at all times.
Classic. Then,
I'm wearing my typical outfit.
Your prison jumper.
Everything black at all times.
I like to call your look the anti-Andrew WK, Rob, because you've got like a similar rocker vibe going, but you're the antithesis of him from the neck down.
Does he not wear all black all the time?
He wears all white all the time.
Oh, does he? Is it so the blood shows better?
I think so.
He's Luke in A New Hope, and I'm Return of the Jedi.
There's something about this camera angle that I just don't know what.
It's the security cam in his prison cell.
It sort of is like a low ceiling security cam or something.
Well, cause the thing is, I got a big television here, and then the only place to put the camera is there. Otherwise, I could just like put it over there.
Well, you see, I have such a monstrous TV. I don't have
Put
any
it in the
space.
garbage.
Otherwise, it would just be like, oh, hey guys, how's it going over there?
Well, I do want to see that now.
I mean, that'd be pretty good as well.
It looks like if you had a haunted house and somebody was gonna crack the door a little bit and like stick a witch hand out.
Yes.
Actually, that door has a ghost in it. Actually,
Really?
It'll open on itself. Yeah, I know. It lives inside of the door.
It's not like the air pressure in the building or anything.
No,
It's definitely a ghost.
Is that a closet, or does that go out to the rest of the house?
No, that's actually just a drop. That's like a 3-story drop.
Oh, wow. Huh.
I have a ladder out of the window, and that's the only way to escape
I
the
see.
apartment.
I ask one question, and that's it.
Yeah, go for it.
There are many in my head right now, but of those, what's up with the garbage bag around the door handle?
Yeah, you got a garbage can right there.
Oh, that's because that's it's glass.
Oh.
So that's when that's filled. Then
We're always
I
so
have to take it down to the
worried
basement.
about Rob being eco-friendly. Little do we know.
I gotta tell you. I mean, they'll kick me out of the apartment if I don't take the glass down to the basement.
okay.
So, you know,
all we gotta do to get you to buy plates is to threaten eviction.
pretty
And
much,
then-
yeah. Like that's all it is. So
It's much better there than like everywhere, so you like fall over it, right? So like, better.
I remember the days of crippling depression.
That's our cue to
Yeah,
transition to
that's
something else.
right.
Oh, alcoholism.
I didn't expect this start today. Hey, everybody. We're doing the show. We got a docket. We are going to talk about some stuff. We got Steam Direct introducing some new details. Actually announced the self-publishing fee, so we'll go into conversation about that. Nintendo Switch's online service details revealed as well. The price point there, along with some changes to the service that are for the better for the most part. The Dark Souls video game. Sorry, not. Yeah, there you go. There's a
What is that?
The Dark
breaking
Souls
story.
Video game? They made a video game.
Wow.
That was my favorite movie.
Dark Souls video game. The board game is now available. Is it? So they've got a physical version and like the one within Tabletop Sim, right?
And then Tabletop Sim 1, yep.
Okay, cool. So yeah, we'll be talking about that primarily the Tabletop Sim version. Then Friday the 13th, out of beta into full release. 1.0 version. Now here we'll be talking about that. Tekken 7 has made its way to the PC, and apparently done so in a pretty good way, surprisingly. So
You're looking at me like I'm gonna do the segment now.
well, no.
It's good.
You're going to do the segment later, and by you're going to do
How
the segment,
do
I
you
mean
know
you're
he's
going to do the
looking at
segment.
you, though?
That's a
is
good
what
question. Yeah.
Oh, he turned his head as if it was to the box that I'm in, so I thought that meant he was looking at
You
me.
know what? You guys should start doing that. Like, is it set up the right way? Like, if I look
Start
over
talking.
here, am I talking to Bear?
No,
Hey, Bear, how's it going?
truthfully,
No,
like
Bear's above you.
The worst part of
Oh.
this is every time I look at you guys, I look as though I'm looking off at something completely unrelated. Like if I had made it so I'm looking over here, it would make way more sense. It would be so much more.
You gotta
synergistic.
see what you do is first you force yourself into the bottom panel of the screen, and then you go, "Hey, Robert, hey, Nick, hey."
That's the way they became the Brady Bunch.
Actually, wait. Can we do the thing where like my hands go out of frame and then you guys put the hands
Here, I can
into
just-
frame? Right here,
It's
I'm
going to
like-
be different for all of us, though, so I don't know who to take up each hand.
Yeah.
I think. Who am I touching? I think I'm touching Nick right now.
Looks like you're
So,
touching
like-
Nick. Yeah, something like that. Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
Hey,
there you are.
Robin is long arm.
This is the show.
This is why you have me on. Actually, is the main thing. So.
This is for the audio listeners in particular, the ones that don't get any
right.
visual.
It's visual gags.
Hey guys. After Tekken 7, we'll be talking a little bit about the BattleTech Beta. We're going to get into Bokida, Heartfelt Reunion, along with Star Trek Bridge Crew. Came out on every single VR platform a couple days ago. And finally, we'll be wrapping up the conversation today with our May Game of the Month. Continuing segments, trying to make the end of year recap a little simpler, really, is what that's all about. But also nice to keep tabs on what we're
May
playing
was
here.
a good month
It
It
was.
was.
because Flint Hook did not come out in May.
You
Glad
really
to
hate
say
that
it.
game, huh?
I don't hate it. I hate that I could have loved it.
Yeah,
Carry
you
that
hate
vendetta.
what it became after the first 5 hours.
Exactly correct.
Let's start off though with a little bit of Steam info. Steam Direct, which we have talked about very recently on the show. Actually, is the new initiative Steam has taken on to phase out Greenlight and replace it with something a little bit more effective. We now know the fee that will be associated with self-publishing via Steam Direct. It's going to be set to $100 per game. Now, comparing this to Greenlight, which I believe was just a $100 flat fee. Someone correct me if I'm wrong on that. I think the biggest factor to consider, first of all, is whether or not this is going to be enough of a deterrent to the folks that are, looking to just abuse Valve's various systems that are in place right now to make a quick buck off of things like the trading card exploits and things like that. And this seems like it's not exactly really about that anymore, as far as I can tell. I don't think they're really worried about that. In fact, I think they're beginning to move past that and instead focus on just making the storefront better, because it seems as though the issue isn't really as prevalent as like the fearmongers would have you believe. But I think it's a good price all the same, wouldn't you say? $100 per game seems about right.
Depends what you're going for, I think, but like I'm not against it. Like it won't stop bad games from being submitted, but I think it might do a good job of curtailing what we were completely unaware of existing, which is just releasing literally like a prototype that you can buy on the asset store and then using the trading cards to make a little bit of money. So, I mean, by making that less profitable and by having some kind of manual application process that at least ensures that that's not what's happening, that's like, I mean, if that's what they're going for, I think $100 is fine, because it also is low enough that it shouldn't keep out any developers who are actually trying to sell a product.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
But I mean, like, you can't publish like anywhere except Itch.io for under $100. Like, what else are you gonna? Where are you gonna go if if $100 is too steep?
I think it's a good thing, but yeah, no, you got those kind of things. But obviously, Steam is the platform you want to be on. But I mean, the only one that I could think of probably is what was that? It was like a blocky zombie game, like Unturned.
Unturned, yeah. Unturned was
that's
actually
one.
really good.
Yeah, well, so that was made by like a 15-year-old kid, and
Surprising.
you know he made it in Unity, and this is the only example. This is an exception, you know, obviously not the rule, but he probably wouldn't have been able to release that on Steam if it weren't for if it were cost him $100, you know, if I had to guess. I don't know.
Are you allowed to publish games when you're not 18?
He did.
Are you like
so.
it's work, right? Like, are you
Parental
allowed to
consent
make
form.
money as a minor that way?
It's an interesting question. Yeah, I don't know.
actually just do not know.
Yeah.
Straight up.
I know
No idea.
you can fill out. When I was 14, I got a job, but I had to fill out like working papers from the state. I don't know if that
It was
works. Like,
Well, as far as actual just labor laws are concerned, I think there's even a certain parameter for people 16 and under too, not just 18 and under.
Unless you work on a farm. Also, Unity has a specific license. You said that was a Unity game, right?
I think so. Yeah.
You can't sell it unless you buy the commercial license, and that's like a ton of money.
so
It
maybe his
is like
mom-
$100.
Maybe his mom helped him out.
That's
It's
possible,
$100.
The Unity professional licenses?
Yeah, you pay a little extra up front, I believe, if your company makes over like $100,000 a year.
Oh yeah, it's based on the income. That's right.
But we talked about this before, and I was incorrect. You don't pay a percentage to Unity if you're over 100,000. You just pay like more for the engine.
A flat fee.
Yeah, I believe so, at least.
Appreciate that insight, Unity certified developer.
Thank you.
Like having you on
Yeah,
the show.
amazingly, when you pay $250 to take the Unity certified exam, they don't ask you how much it costs to buy Unity.
No?
They just
Well, what if
we
you
already got
pirated
it.
it to learn on?
Exactly. They already got us.
They don't ask you the minimum age to publish a game on Steam either. I
No,
guess?
they don't ask that, believe it or
weird.
not.
When you show up to take the exam, they should send you like a token to your phone to prove that you have a real license.
You do have to sign in on their website, which requires having a Unity account, I think. I don't know.
Okay. So they kind of do.
Look, I mean, you're only robbing yourself.
Rob's robbing himself
Exactly.
right now.
I wish, like, after the test and you passed, you walk into a room and there was 6 developers all making a different Unity survival game, and they'd recruit you.
I mean, you see, but that would be a job, is the thing, which is pretty
Right.
sweet.
Why don't
True.
you make a Unity survival game simulator where you make Unity survival games?
That's just
It's called Steam.
oh
Yeah,
there
right.
we go.
Fair enough.
Full
yeah.
circle.
look.
Here it is.
The thing is, Steam Direct, something. I don't know. I feel like it's a positive change. I feel like Steam has gotten to the point where they can't. They're like so past walled garden that they're really harping on this discoverability update that I just do not care about, but probably matters a lot if you're a developer. So they're like, well, we can no longer guarantee games any front page coverage because of the fact that we have too many games coming out. So now we're at the point where at least if you make a game that's like, you know, a visual novel where you play as like a hat, then other people who have played visual novels in which you play as inanimate unsentient objects will get that more likely to their front page, and maybe that'll, you know, end up resulting in some attention for you. But as far as like the Steam Direct thing itself, anybody belly aching over it being $100, I understand where you're coming from because it's not free, but at the same time, like if you want access to the store, that seems fairly reasonable. Like you have to pay $100 a year to publish on the iOS App Store, and that goes through a manual review process too. I don't know how it works for Google Play Store, but it seems comparable to other platforms with large audiences that apparently need protecting.
And that $100 fee is also recoupable, we should note. So if your game makes above that threshold, I believe you get that back. I'm pretty sure is how that works. But along the lines of that discovery update as well, something that maybe will matter to us in particular and will help out folks on the store more is the fact that they are addressing the curators feature in depth, which, you know, we mentioned this the last time we talked about this Steam Direct stuff, but the fact that the curators have more or less just gone to the wayside now. I think us, for the most part, we're not even really using the curator system anymore, especially not on our, you know, creators end. We're not making recommendations just because it doesn't really seem like there's any point to it. But they are addressing that. They're attempting to make it a lot more useful. They're allowing folks like YouTubers, for example, who use the system and want to link their content to their suggestions and their, you know, reviews. They're allowing them to, you know, embed YouTube videos with those things or to link directly, which they already do, but they, you know, they want to make that better. They're trying to make curators a bigger part of the store pages themselves, which it's still an opt-in feature, and that's sort of the point, is that if you don't want to see curators telling you what to buy, you never have to. But for those that do, they want to see it actually have an impact, as opposed to it just being this little minute detail on the bottom of the store page that's like, so-and-so also said this game is okay. But
funny enough, every time I launch Steam now, I pretty much see either Bear or Ryan's curator page lately.
Really?
I don't know why that is, but like it's been in the last few months. I've seen it pretty much every time I go on.
I haven't updated
props,
that.
I guess it likes you.
Yeah, that's good. I guess
It's good that they're going back, because I mean, I haven't played Dota for like 2,500 hours, and being on Steam since Counter-Strike 1.6, like Steam tends to, or Valve tends to, like make a feature and then they release it, and then it's like
they just forget.
Well,
about
it's
it.
there.
Yeah, exactly.
And then completely forget about it for years. So it's good they're going back and trying to like to get that to be a little bit better.
Yeah.
There's like a couple search things that I do really wish there was some more ease of access going on, because like when you try to search, obviously obviously we play a lot of games together. So I like searching for like multiplayer games, but there's like 4 different user-defined tags for multiplayer, and they don't sync up, and they're not like, there's like online multiplayer, co-op multiplayer, and it's like you don't know what's what, and then hopefully they keep updating their platform is basically what I'm getting.
Did you ever look in the online multiplayer tags on Steam? Because there's only 4 pages of them.
Yeah, no, it's weird.
It's bizarre, because there's got to be more games than that.
There's also, like, if you look in some of those tags, I was looking at it the other day. Like, when you're looking in some of those tags, I got like a visual novel in there as a multiplayer game. It's like, is this like a Nintendo thing? It's like, yeah, it's multiplayer because you get to watch your friend play Zelda and experience it together. It's multiplayer. So like, I don't know if that's
like, I'm wondering if that's a case of the user-defined tag failure, or if that's a case of like developers putting extra tags on their game so that they show up in more search criteria. So it's like, yeah, I mean, this is multiplayer, sure, let's throw that in that mix. Why not?
I don't think the developers tag it though, right? It's based on like user submission.
Right, we have that, but
sarcastic shit in there.
I think there's two tagging systems. Right?
I always assumed that there was
user-defined and
a back.
The only reason I know there's 2 is because the Project Zomboid devs had to go up against a couple of devs that were using Project Zomboid in their dev tags to have their game show up more often, and they had to be like, can't do that.
That's like putting PewDiePie
exactly,
in
man.
Yeah. YouTube videos. Don't do that.
Don't do that. Not that the tags matter anymore for YouTube, though, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Still don't do that.
Yeah. It's not like YouTube matters anymore.
They're not like making videos on the internet matters anymore.
Right. But yeah, as far as the price point is concerned, I'm just mostly of the opinion that like this is about the only threshold that everyone can walk away relatively happy with. Like there's still going to be some folks that will think, $100 is too much. I can't ever publish for that cost. But I mean, like Ryan said, you kind of just have to, accept the cost of doing business, as it were. So yeah, there's the Steam Direct update. I'm sure we'll know more about that soon, but they have made the announcement just a few days ago that that's going to be going down. All right, on to Nintendo Switch. We get some more details about their online service coming out. The big one, first of all, is the price point, of course. Is going to be offered for $20 a year, and will launch at some point in 2018. You can also get a 1-month sub for $4 and a 3-month subscription for $8. So definitely on the lower end.
$20 a year or $4 a month? I feel like that math doesn't add up very well.
It doesn't at all. No, that's
it's hell of a deal
like
for 1 year subscriptions then, basically.
Yeah, it's like 1.4 or 1.2 something per month in the $20 a year. So
yeah.
So why do the month at all, I guess is what I'm saying. But anyway, sorry, go ahead.
I mean, so the price point right out of the gate is, that's impressive. But of course, you got to ask yourself, okay, so what are they including with this? So naturally, online play is a given. The voice chat and online lobby features themselves, though, which normally you would assume is also a given, is a little convoluted. So it's not 100% concrete yet. But the way it looks right now is that there is going to be a third-party, or not a third-party, a first-party Nintendo smartphone app that you will download onto your phone, And no, Mathis's reaction is appropriate. So let me try to explain this with words.
I feel like what you're about to say is like all the voice stuff is going to be taken care of on your phone.
Oh, God,
but not on the
would be
console
terrible.
itself.
And you can play your Mario games on there too.
Don't tell me that's true.
So this is all, what I'm about to say is based off of not exactly 100% concrete information, but there's like images that have been spread around that are detailing what it looks like Nintendo is going to be doing. So it looks like they've got a sort of mixer device that you use with the Switch. You plug your Switch into this mixer. You also plug your smartphone into the mixer using just like an 1/8" millimeter cable.
No shit.
And then you also plug a headset into this mixer.
That's 3 wires too many.
That's 3 wires going into a single mixer.
Nintendo loves peripherals.
And
They're
I still,
big
so it's
fans.
like, I'm pretty sure this isn't necessary.
Yeah,
Because get a link on this, like, something about that doesn't seem right.
There's no
I
way.
swear to God.
And then your phone and then a headset?
at that point, thank God the Switch is mobile so I can just sit at my computer and use Skype.
Don't you just download it on your phone and then
My phone is a mic and a speaker in it.
wait? Yeah, like
So you're just like,
Let me, hold on, I'm going to find the image.
You
Because
can just link a Bluetooth
Yeah.
headset to your phone.
I'm being sincere right now because
Yeah,
this
yeah.
seems like that's too far. That seems way too far.
So someone linked it in chat.
yeah, here you go.
Yeah,
I've got the
it looks-
image pulled up on Kotaku right now. But here's what it looks like. So you
can
got,
you link it in Skype or something?
you've got your, oh yeah, no, I can't.
He's
I
not,
really
he's
can't.
not kidding.
Sorry.
That's exactly what that is.
So you've got the headset, right? And the headset plugs into this mixer. And the mixer looks like a little arrow. So at the point of the arrow is the place where you plug in the headset. And then at the base of the arrow,
Christ.
on the right side of it, you're plugging in your phone, and on the left side of it, you're plugging in the Switch. That's what I'm seeing.
All right, yeah, that's idiotic.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the thing.
Fuck this company.
Is the
Oh
only
my
way
God.
to use it? Is the only way to use it with a smartphone then?
I think so.
Because
Chat says it's not required.
okay,
For the voice chat or just in general? Well, I mean, it's not required in general, obviously. If you don't want to use the voice chat, yeah, you don't have to have
right,
it.
yeah. Well, because the thing is, like, I mean, granted, I know that this is uncommon, but up until like a year ago, I didn't have a smartphone, so I would not be able to use.
Or, I mean, like, even if, like, you don't need to plug in, like, every single wire, how about you just, you know, go about the route of 2017 and plug a headset into the fucking system and it just works? Why do I need my
Right.
phone for any of this
That's
shit?
like that's a 2002 standard, honestly. Fucking Xbox controllers had the headsets plugged directly into them since the original
yeah, since
console.
Xbox
Stop.
Live.
PSP allowed you to plug a headset and talk over it.
I'm still like I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt here because I'm looking at this
Don't
article
do that.
and I'm not convinced that this is the way that they want you to do it. It looks like it says official, but it says it's Hori's official Splatoon 2 headset. Does that mean
Hori's
like
third party, isn't it?
yeah, so does that mean like Nintendo is like, sure, you can like here's
but
your official Splatoon license.
The thing is, though, like, that headset appears in the game.
Right, but you know, I mean,
That
Tony
could be
Hawk's
like a
Pro
license.
Skater,
Yeah, that's
you
true,
can
too. It could be a license
Right.
deal, but
get
still.
like a bag of Cheetos or something. But
In-
like, I just don't know. I can't fathom Nintendo engineers being like, this is the way that you have to do voice chat on our system. This
that
seems like
should be the motto of Nintendo. Actually, what you just said is the motto.
Wait, no, but it's only one step away from what we already know they do want you to do, which is to use a smartphone to do voice chat.
right, and that's still like
That's still
really dumb.
That's
I
that's still
will give you
stupid.
that,
Less
but-
stupid than that, still pretty stupid.
Well, apparently, someone in chat said that apparently, like, the phone is necessary, but the mixer is not.
Right.
So,
Okay, well, still,
like-
but
That
Go
being
ahead,
said,
Wade.
in the rare instance I'm gonna like defend Nintendo a little bit, I have never wanted voice over IP in a Nintendo game. Splatoon makes sense, I guess, because if you're playing it like semi-seriously or competitively, to be able to coordinate is good. But when I play Mario Kart Online, I'm like, this is just real people have replaced the AI, and that's
Yeah.
the perfect experience for me right now. So
Oh, I don't know if you heard, but they're coming out with Splatoon 3. It's going to be a battle royale game.
No,
so
dude, that would be pretty sweet.
I tweeted that they should make a Nintendo Battle Royale. It's like 100 Marios shooting each other to death in a field.
Honestly, I wouldn't mind.
That's what Mario X Rabbids is going to be, I'm pretty sure.
Looks like it from the picture.
But yeah, I do want to, introduce this heavy caveat again, which is to say none of this is confirmed as far as the voice chat stuff goes. So we're looking at the same stuff and speculating in the same ways that the entire internet is right now. But with what we see, man, that is some antiquated shit. Like, they've got to get on the ball with this stuff. Like, no one wants to download an app for voice chat. And I'm pretty sure, like, this is just an effort to get people to download a Nintendo app.
Right.
Like, at the end of the day, let's get some Nintendo app users. And this is a great way to do it.
This is the first step of their transitioning to becoming a mobile only.
Oh,
You
guys,
guys,
far with it.
no,
But
you guys are so. This is the time to not be cynical about Nintendo.
There is no time for that.
They came out with a console that has a bullshit gimmick that's actually good.
I'm going to turn this around, though. Hold on.
They said that about the Wii.
Yeah, but all of their ideas of like, well, it's a console that you put up your butt and you squeeze it to play. Like, this one delivered, and like,
how many fucking ice cubes are in the controller right now? Tell me that.
Dude, this is like, we're crossing the line from like ironic cynicism into genuine cynicism.
Now,
the Switch is doing well right now.
You got to let me go with the full cycle here, though, because we had the introductory shitting on them, and now we've got the but wait, they did something good part. So let's get into that. But wait.
And then the online service for $20 a year is actually great, especially because we've been riffing on this stupid like pay $15 to buy Super Mario World for like the 20th time virtual console setup that they've got. As long as they have like some kind of decent library, even if titles rotate like in and out, I think that being able to have sort of like a Netflix for classic Nintendo titles is a great idea.
That's about what I was going to say just then. Yep. Those are the words I was going to use, is that they changed what they were going to do, like, remember back when we were initially discussing this, they also had pitched the idea that they were going to give the subscribers one Nintendo classic title per month that would then be rescinded at the end of the month. And they flip-flopped on that for the better. They're now, like you said, turning it into like a Netflix of classic Nintendo titles, which is great. That's an awesome value for $20 a year, especially if it's, like you said, like a good library. That'd be fantastic.
I hear they're going to be releasing 3 new games onto that service every month, I think, is I think the rumor. I don't know if it's confirmed or not.
Some of which will have included online play, which is even better. That's fucking
fantastic.
Sweet.
I'm super glad to hear that because, Rob, you're muted. I'm super glad to hear that because that was one of the worst parts of the original plan that they had, was like the whole you get in a game and we're taking it away at the end of the month.
They only changed because of the outrage. They wanted to get away with it.
Yeah, you can't get mad at them for that. Seriously,
I'm mad at them for coming up with that idea in the first place.
but at least like they heard us and listened to the consumers, which is what companies should do.
They listen to us.
Yeah,
which is new for Nintendo as well. Like that's also a good thing.
Yeah.
The one thing I actually want to bring up a somewhat tangential yet not, I will say, not irrational concern that I have over the voice app thing. You get the app on their phone, are they going to start pushing advertisements to it? And the reason that I ask this and why it's not irrational is because
they do that already.
I have a Wii U, and I had it hooked up for Breath of the Wild and stuff. I would have the volume turned off on the Wii U gamepad.
Oh, yeah.
I would have the console off.
Yep.
It would push an ad with sound
on the tablet.
To the gamepad. Yeah, on the tablet.
Yeah.
And it's like it would happen all the time until I would let it power out. Like I would let it drain the battery because it's just like what? How? Why do you think that's a good idea? Why is that a good idea? So, but that would be my concern with the voice app or whatever. But in general, yeah, I mean, I think Nintendo's doing some pretty good things. If the main thing for me with Nintendo and the Switch specifically, my main problem with Nintendo for the past couple of years is just that they haven't had a huge catalog of games coming out, like new ones. I mean, even the stuff that the Switch is coming out with now are Wii U ports, like the Mario Kart 8 or whatever. So if they can shore that up for me personally as a longtime Nintendo fan, then maybe I'll consider getting a Switch.
Word.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is a perfect video game. I'm just gonna throw that out there. It may not be original.
Is Deluxe
that's
like?
fine.
Are you saying like Deluxe is superior to 8 too?
I mean, it's been like 4 years since I played Wii U's version of Mario Kart 8, so I'm not gonna stand behind that necessarily. But I will say that I could play Mario Kart 8 Deluxe probably like an hour a day every day until I died.
Yeah. I think 8 is just a perfect
game.
video game, though.
Just like a very pleasant game to play.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I play it, I'm like, this is still like a little magical.
I want to just... I'm supplanting that idea with the fact that 8 was already pretty goddamn good and didn't require the Switch update. But...
Well, no, it did because nobody had a Wii U.
Well,
So they needed, to get it to a market that had people to buy it. I think that was the point. It's like, well, we know the Switch is hugely successful, is outsold, however, whatever consoles they've had in the past in its first whatever months. Let's get a game. Let's re-release this game again, and people will buy it.
I have a question, actually. Do we? A couple of us have Switches here, right?
Yep.
Is the friends list logical in any way?
I don't use it at all.
All right. See, because the Wii U and the DS both have probably the worst friend system that I've ever seen.
Well, I mean, the friend code system is just I still don't understand why you would adhere to that idea this late in the game, but
yeah,
it is what it is.
You can have 100 friends on it, and you could have the same account across your Wii U and the DS. Friend codes don't transfer. They don't. You have to add them in manually. Except it does go from Wii U to DS, but not the other way around because reasons. I don't know why. Just
why are there limits on friends lists at all? Like, how much data is that saving in the long run? I guess I have no idea, but I just really wish that was not still a practice.
It's very frustrating.
Even on
honestly.
BattleNet, they still got a goddamn limit on your friends list. It's so silly.
Well, the Steam one is the weirdest of all, where they incentivize.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, is there a level at which I could get you to cap my friends list at 25, so that I don't have to purge every invite once every 2 weeks or something like that?
But sweet. All right. There's the Nintendo Switch Online details. I'm sure that we haven't seen the last of that one. Let's move on to the Dark Souls board game. Mathis,
Sure.
Please.
Yeah, so recently I played the Dark Souls board game. Saw it in person. Didn't have time to play it in person at MomoCon, but got together with TB and Nerd Cubed, and we played on Tabletop Sim. The advertisement is 1.5 to 2 hours. We played for 4 hours, and we're only halfway through. We're going to finish it next week. So it's long. Maybe if you have the rules down, it goes quicker. But the idea is it's a cooperative board game up to 4 players where you go through the randomized dungeon. And at the end of the first floor, you encounter a mini boss, and then you go through it again. And at the second floor, you encounter the main boss, which you draw from cards. It's very much a dungeon crawler where you're going through, killing monsters, gathering souls, gathering gear, going back to the bonfire, and then leveling your character up to equip that better gear so that your stats match. It's very Dark Souls, where a piece of armor requires 28 strength, 30 intelligence. All right, there's this pool of souls we have to share between the 4 of us. Who's going to take what, and who's going to upgrade what, and get the better gear depending on the class you're playing. It's a really cool
It's cooperative then?
It is 100% cooperative.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, it is not. There is no backstabbing or invasions, though I'm told there's an invasion expansion pack coming and more monsters and all that other stuff. It's really fun, and I think they've translated the difficulty of Dark Souls really well. The gear and the souls and all that stuff has been translated really well. But there are aspects of the game that I find unpolished and a little clunky. And this is coming from somebody who really likes complicated board games. I have the Game of Thrones board game, Star Wars Rebellion. I've played a lot of games that have a lot of rules. And this is one of the ones that really feels like could have used some streamlining with how the game works, specifically the boss battles. So a lot of the way you figure out how enemies move, they have behavior patterns, and it's all on the enemy card. So hollow soldiers will always move towards the player with the aggro token on them, and then they will do an attack. All enemies get to attack all at once, and then one player gets to attack, and then all enemies get to attack again, then the next player gets to attack, which helps simulate the difficulty of the game where you're constantly getting your face beat in. Our very first room we entered, we all wiped. If one player wipes, if one player dies, all three of you die. So it's you kind of have to manage each other in a way. It's hard. I don't want to go through all the details of the game because the game has a lot of pieces.
Sure.
But my complaint about the game is the way, like I said, the way enemies and bosses work in particular, because again, on the card is the way they move, but it's all symbols and it's kind of a clusterfuck. And the rules, some of the rules for the way the boss moves are written in a vague way where you're kind of like, well, do they mean it like this or do they mean it like this? Because if it can mean everybody gets hit or nobody gets hit, depending on how you interpret some of the rules. And it makes the boss fight really, really clunky. We fought the gargoyle for the first mini boss, and a lot of his attacks are like tail swoop attacks and whatnot. And the sense that the boss figures have like sections on them that they hit from. If you're not on that particular section where he's hitting, he can miss you. But if you're on the other like two, he can hit you. It's a little obnoxious. And the reward for killing the bosses is like no souls at all. You just get gear. You get minimal souls, and that felt like a really crap reward. The game is also very heavily dice-based, so there's a lot more luck in the game than skill. And that kind of bothers me because I understand the need for dice. You're playing a board game, there's going to be an element of chance and an element of luck, but there really needs to be more risk management in the game to make it feel like your calls, your decisions on where to move have more of an effect on how much you're going to get hit or how difficult the room is. And much like Dark Souls, if you die, so you get through 3 out of the 4 rooms before the boss fight and you die and you go back to the bonfire, all of those rooms respawn. You have to go through all of them again.
Oh, man.
And you drop all your souls. So if you have to go back and get those souls again. So you can't go to the bonfire and then upgrade after you die. What you have to do is make a judgment call. Shit, we've already used 2 out of the 3 of us has used our Estus flask. We're about to go to the boss. Do we go to the bonfire, use a tick of the bonfire, refill our Estus, cash in our souls, get new gear, but then have to go through all of that again.
Right.
If you have the good enough gear, it makes the rooms really quick, but if you got kind of garbage drops, then going through those rooms again can be a kind of a chore. I give it like a 7 out of 10. I think it's really a really good translation, but if you're not a Dark Souls fan, I don't know how much enjoyment you can get out of it.
That was one of my first questions was like, are non-Dark Souls people really going to be able to enjoy this at all?
I err on the side of no, because a lot of it is very heavily themed in that world, and the difficulty is like, man, this is Dark Souls. I'm getting my ass kicked by mobs. One bad dice roll could mean the whole party wipes. And like there's a kind of a thrill there. But if you aren't into the Dark Souls, the way Dark Souls work, where you die and you drop everything and you lose it all, then you may not enjoy the game very much.
You know, the very central conceit of Dark Souls comes down to the controls and the way the dexterity functions with experience and the visuals. And both of those things are missing in the concept of a board game. I mean, you say that the difficulty translates fairly well, but I'm not sure that those things necessarily equate in any way.
And it sort of sounds like, that might have been just replaced by dice, which is not really ideal.
Yeah, the way dice works is like your basic gear. There's 3 colored dice: black, blue, and I forget what the highest. I think it's red. Could be wrong. And then there's dodging dice. So if you decide to dodge roll, you have to roll dodging dice. And you have to beat a number. It doesn't matter. But the black dice is like 3 of the sides are blank, meaning you roll 0. 1 is 1, 1 is 2, and 1 is... It might be 2 or 1 and 1 is 2. So you can't go roll very high. But then you upgrade your gear, and now all of a sudden you're rolling blue dice. Every single side of a blue dice has a number on it at least. You still could be rolling 1s, but there's a 2 and a 3 on there as well. And then red dice is like bare minimum you can roll is like a 2, and then there's higher 3 and then 4.
Okay.
So, yeah, you're rolling dice, but at least the chance of failing is mitigated a little bit there. But it's a heavily gear based. It's a dungeon crawl. It's a dungeon crawl game with a heavy difficulty to it. People are saying a 7 out of 10 is not that great. In my world, a 7 out of 10 is pretty freaking good. I like it. But in a world where Game of Thrones and Star Wars Rebellion exists, where I think those games can be enjoyed whether or not you enjoy the series, the game, I think you have to be a Dark Souls fan. I'd be curious to see where the game is 6 months from now when a few expansions have hit and really fleshed the game out a little bit more with invasions and summons and different mobs and more treasure, that kind of stuff. But it has its problems. It's a little clunky.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing what invasions will constitute, because I really don't know
I'm curious how that's going to end up
PvP
working.
You have your friends Skype in and roll a bunch of dice.
Yeah, can you just roll dice and invade and kick my ass, please? I would assume that what'll end up happening is there'll be like NPC invasions, like in the game, where NPCs can show up, but they can be wearing like player gear, and they kind of become their own boss fight.
Oh yeah, that could work. Yeah,
but yeah, I think it's good. I think if you enjoy Dark Souls and you enjoy board games, you'll enjoy the game. But if you're not a Dark Souls fan, it can feel slow and kind of overly, like, frustratingly difficult if you don't understand like the purpose of the game. And it can feel a little grindy having to go through the same rooms over and over if you die a lot, or you decide to go back and cash in your souls and use the bonfire. People were asking, can you grind forever in the game and just like grind souls and get better gear and just keep going? No, because the bonfire has like specific amount of uses per floor, meaning 3. You can buy more uses, but it costs souls, and you don't necessarily want to do that.
Got it. Sweet. I still think I want to try it out. I think I'd probably even prefer the physical version. This is a really minute thing, but do you think you would have enjoyed it more if it were the physical version?
From what I know and looked at the physical version, setup for the physical version would take like fucking 45 minutes.
Oh boy!
There's so many pieces to the game. There's so many different decks and so many different cubes and dice and.
So maybe it's actually better suited for tabletop sim. Though.
The tabletop sim one is just the mod or whatever comes instantly set up.
Yeah.
So you don't have to think about any of the setup or teardown of the game.
Mm-hmm. Well,
has anybody played VR version of tabletop yet?
I feel like I would get sick. The game doesn't run at a smooth 60 alone without it. So
I would love the idea of not having to fuck around with the clicking and moving, dragging stuff, and be able to actually just like pick up. That would be really satisfying.
That would be pretty cool, yeah.
Should try that out. Yeah, I'm curious how that works too. But yeah, there we
should
go.
Play more tabletop simulator.
Yeah, let's all be buddies
in VR.
It's just not the same.
It isn't the same. Yeah.
I know it's come a long way, but I don't like playing like middling board games in tabletop simulator, because it's like, oh, we're gonna play like Monopoly, but then it's just harder to move the train to Baltic Avenue. Like, I just find it kind of tedious most of the time. Although I appreciate it for the engine that it is. Like,
Usually, I was hoping the VR version would make that stuff more accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Once that game can run in 75 frames smoothly without VR attached, I'll give it a try. Otherwise, it sounds like a vomit-inducing experience for me.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
There's too many moving parts.
Well, speaking of vomit-inducing experiences, Friday the 13th, the game has come out of beta. That you can infer that a number of ways, but currently available. Came out May 26th. We have played the beta version, of course, the lot of us, but now Mathis and Rob have both had some extensive experience with the full release. Rob, why don't you tell me about it thus far for you?
So, outside of a couple hiccups in the first, 2 days of the game coming out with multiplayer kind of being buggy, now it just pretty much works. So, that aspect of it is more by the wayside.
That's good. Yeah.
As far as, if you played the beta, you've mostly played this game. They've added a couple of other things, like Jason now has 2 more abilities. He can pick knives out of walls and throw them at people. He can put down bear traps now, which is also cool because if you're chasing somebody in a house, you can do stuff like that. There's 2 more maps. There's I think a couple more counselors than in the beta. But yeah, like I said, it's mostly the same as it was in the beta. And honestly, I have a good time playing it. I do really actually enjoy it. Even just queuing against people. If you don't know, it's an asymmetrical horror multiplayer game.
Yeah, you get to say it. It's real this time.
So no, it's an asymmetrical horror multiplayer game, and Jason is, compared to a game like Dead by Daylight, which I think is what most people think of when they think of that. Jason is like way more powerful than those killers, which to me in Dead by Daylight, those killers just feel kind of just anemic. You know, they're like they feel like they should be on crutches or something the whole time they're trying to chase people down, whereas Jason is very, very powerful. I have hypothesized that the reason for this, and so a lot of people when they see me playing it, they're like, "Oh, Jason's OP, Jason's so overpowered, like it's stupid to play it." But in my experience, most games, at least a couple to half to more than half of the counselors get away. And I think it's this. I think the design. Here's my hypothesis. I think the design is similar to Battlefront, the EA Star Wars game, where when you're playing as Jason, they want you to feel powerful. They want you to get a couple of kills at least if you're playing them, as compared to Dead by Daylight, where it's not even particularly likely that you'll even get one kill if you're not particularly good. Even a bad Jason can probably get at least one or two counselors. Which I actually think is a good thing, for the most part, because I don't really care about dying as a counselor. The one thing that I will say about my major problems with the game, it actually doesn't even come from design, it's the community. As I've been playing it more, there have been several instances, I've gotten into several matches where because like when you're in a match, when you're in a lobby, you pick your counselor and you pick your Jason, right? So, and you could be randomly selected to be Jason or the counselor. Several times I'll run into people who just work with Jason and just walk their counselor around to the other counselors, and then Jason just won't kill him, and it's just like, what's that, like, why? Like, just have fun in a video game. Why do you want to win so really bad at Friday the 13th? It's just the fucking... But so anyway, so that's one major right that I have in mind. It's a little bit buggy as well, you know, similar to the beta, but they're not game breaking for the most part, and they're funny. They're kind of Skyrim-y kind of bugs. So
yeah, they're very Skyrim-y bugs. I had a bug where Jason was trying to kill somebody in a cabin, and the person got glitched to the roof of the cabin, and then he just stood on the roof for 5 minutes until the timer went out. And he's like, "You can't kill me up here. There's nothing you can do." It was a really bizarre glitch.
That's funny.
I think game breaking. I mean, you can't finish that match because of that.
No, there's a timer. You have 20 minutes, and then if you don't kill,
is what I mean.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, there's not much you can do. If the counselor can jump off the roof if he wants, but he wants to win, so he stayed up.
Why didn't those kids in the Friday the 13th movies ever just get on a roof?
I know, right?
Yeah,
Jason can't get up there.
Can't get up there.
I think I echo almost everything that you've said. It took me a while. At the beginning, I was like, this game is actually terrible. I think it's really bad. But I came around to it when I started to play with friends and ditched solo. Because solo is a fucking nightmare if you're a counselor. If you're Jason, it's great because almost everybody doesn't understand the nuances of the game and what causes Jason to see you and what sets off blips on his radar. And people don't understand as well. It took me a little while to understand where you said Jason is purposely overpowered as hell. The point as counselor is to avoid confronting him at all costs. You don't ever want Jason to see you because if the chase starts, you are not getting away from him. There's just no way. He will catch you eventually, which is great because you can at least play a distraction if you're playing with friends. And I do agree that what you said, Jason will always kill at least a couple counselors. Every escape route cannot accommodate every single counselor. Like, the biggest car can carry 4 people at most. And there was a point where I was playing with some friends where there were 5 of us, and we had the 4-seater car up and running, and we had to drop somebody. And we were like, all right, man, here's what we've got for you as, like, leftover stuff. We hope you get out, but we're not taking you. Goodbye. And we'd leave him and left him whatever we could. And I like that a lot. I think Jason being overpowered as hell is done on purpose. The problem I have with the developers is they don't make that clear. like in the marketing and anything. They leave out so much important information on how to play the game that when you play it, especially as a counselor, you're like, I don't understand why he keeps finding me. How does he keep finding me? What am I supposed to do? One of the things they don't tell you is that there's a fucking jog button. Use it. God, don't sprint.
Yes.
If you're sprinting, there will always be a little pip in his vision, then he'd be like, there's somebody over there. If you jog, it's a lot less likely. And if you play a counselor who's a lot stealthier, it's almost impossible for him to see you while you're jogging and a lot less likely to see you while you're even sprinting. Crouch, hide. Like, he can't see you if you're not making a ton of noise. And that not being explained, and I get into a pub, and there's a metric F ton of people just sprinting everywhere, looking and running and like jumping through windows. I'm like, he's going to be here any minute because he can goddamn see you guys making a ton of noise. But once that clicks, once you understand the nuances of staying quiet and hiding and not running unless absolutely necessary, as Jason, it's much harder to find the counselors and your tactics change drastically. And as a counselor, it becomes a lot more tense because all of a sudden, like, oh shit, the music's playing, he's nearby, stay hidden, wait for him to go. Okay, he's breaking on the door, but does he know I'm in here? If I hide and hold my breath, okay, he's leaving. Like, that aspect, which is what the game was marketed as, starts to take shape. And it's really nice. And as a Jason who played in a lot of pubs and just murdered every counselor, once I started playing with friends, you have to start thinking like 3 steps ahead. All right, I'm going to teleport myself to the car, set a couple bear traps on the car, leave the car, go to where the cop phone is on the map, set up a couple traps on the cop phone. Oh shit, they triggered a trap. I'm going to head back there now. And the strategy starts to take shape. And that's great. But it really, like, the game does not spell that out for you. So first few games, you're like, this game is stupid. I don't understand why he keeps finding me. And that, I think that needs some more fleshing out.
I will say too, yeah, like to Mathis's point, strategy and skill actually does factor into the game, which I feel has been less so in a lot of those asymmetrical multiplayer horror games like, you know, Damned and Dead by Daylight. Like, playing as Jason against shitty counselors, I'll kill them all. But playing against like people who play the game well, I've had a much harder time. I've had games where I've only killed like, you know, three of them or 1 or 2. And that actually is a measure of skill, which I know it isn't something to be like super excited about a video game. Like, oh, if you're skilled, you do better. But like in a particular scenario, I think that is an important factor. And I will say there are some really awesome moments that happen in like crazy escapes. Like there was one that happened the other day where me and Jess were trying to escape basically. People tried to get out in a car, and then it seemed like they got stopped by Jason because the car was gone. So I was like, let's go after the car. Let's go for that. And he's chasing after us on the road. I've got a flare gun. She's got a shotgun because she's Tommy Jangus. And so she runs up to the car. I'm like, get in. I'll distract him. And then he put a bear trap next to the car, and she gets stuck in. And she's like, I'm like, oh God, all right, I'll walk up to him and try to get him to grab me because I got a pocket knife. I'll stab him in his neck and stun him. And then he decides not to go for the stun or not for the grab, and he starts slashing me. And then I look behind me, and she pulls out the shotgun and blasts him, and we get in the car, and it's like trying to start up. We're like, oh my God, go. And Jason's like slowly getting up in the background, and we like barely escaped. And it's just like, that's a cool moment. It's like something out of the movie, and that's fun, you know?
So this, like, I'm thinking about it now. Obviously, we're comparing it to Dead by Daylight pretty significantly. But Dead by Daylight, it just sort of has kind of an inherent silliness to it, you know, where, especially because of the state that the game is perpetually in, you know, like you got to sort of take it with a grain of salt. But with this, if you let yourself, it sounds like it can become a much more intense and riveting experience.
Especially when Jason eventually gets all of his abilities, because over time as Jason, your abilities will unlock, so you don't just start with everything. Once he gets his last ability, Stalk, which when you activate it, when you're near counselors, no music plays. They have no idea you're nearby. Ooh. And you, like, if you know where they are, and he's playing Stalk, and you're in a house, you have no idea it's there, and all of a sudden the door bursts open and Jason walks through. It's fucking it can scare the shit out of you because he knew you were there, but you had no idea he was out there.
Yeah.
There are some great moments. There's some really funny moments too, because the face expressions of the counselors are derpy as hell.
Yeah.
They're really terrible.
Wait, do you guys not think that they're inexcusably awful looking? because I can't
pretty
handle how
bad.
They're
they are.
really, really bad. Yeah,
They're pretty bad, but it makes me laugh because it doesn't
It's
break
hilarious,
the game.
though.
Yeah.
That's what like my impressions, at least of the beta, were like this is like a bad game that's really fun.
Yeah.
Like
It's
the
better
experience.
than beta, but it's still similar.
If you were gonna go like by that metric, like it's farther away from like something like Goat Simulator on that same kind of scale and closer to
Dead by Daylight.
Wait, is it intentional? Because I can't tell. I thought it just was that way because they didn't fix it.
Well,
I mean,
it's not. It doesn't have a lot of game-breaking bugs, to be honest with you. There's one exploit that happens right now where you can crouch and still sprint, which is a.
Oh, that's got to
problem,
look
but
pretty silly.
Yeah, no, that one people I've seen that in one game, but they're patching that out. But for the most part, the bugs are just like the hair goes crazy or
And the
people
in-game
fly.
The in-game VoIP system is fantastic. Like
Yeah,
that's
it
how the
is,
game should
yeah.
be played. Do not play on Discord. Like if we ever play together, don't use Discord, don't use Skype. Just play with the in-game VoIP because it's area effect of how your voice can be, where it can be heard. If you get walkie-talkies and you can talk across the map, and Jason can hear you talk if he's nearby, so that gives a little bit of like, do I want to talk now? Do I think he's nearby and stuff? But there's some really fun moments that can be had. Like there was somebody, I was Jason, and somebody was trying to get away on the second floor of a building, and I caught him and I just threw him out a window. And there was somebody down there, you just heard them go like scream because like his body just comes flying out of a window and hits the ground.
That's
That stuff's really fun. It's way better than Dead by Daylight, but I agree with Ryan where it's like, it's not a great game, but with friends, it's fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun time.
Cool. Sounds good. Friday the 13th is out now. Currently $40. Let's go over to Nick to talk about Tekken 7. I'm excited to hear about this, actually. I might even pick this up myself, yeah.
Are you a Tekken fan, Bear?
I played a lot of Tekken Tag Tournament back in the day, but that's the last one I actually owned.
Is Tekken 7 the one that was at E3 last year?
Yeah.
The one that was out front and there was like a lot of people taking pictures?
It's kind of confusing with the release of Tekken 7 because apparently it's been out in Japan for a long time and this is like revision 2. I don't really follow it close enough to know the specifics, but it's the first release of it in North America anyway. Anybody else here play Tekken a lot, or am I the only one other than Bear?
I mean, I wouldn't even say I played it a lot. I'm okay at it. I'm okay at it.
I'm familiar with it. Yeah.
It's important because it's a game that's actually stayed very close to its roots despite having this many iterations. I mean, aside from even the numbered ones, there's also Tag, like you said, and then the Street Fighter Cross Tekken and Tekken Cross Street Fighter. And, these characters have all intermingled and had their own sort of style going. But Tekken 7 is really solid. I am very impressed with how good they made this port. I've been following the series since the beginning. I haven't played all of the side ones like I just mentioned, but they've got all of the general feeling of Tekken with sort of a nicer level of polish. All the features you could really want in a port, and it came out functional on day one, which for a fighting game, that's like a big accomplishment, apparently.
Like, they just can't nail it, man. I don't know why. It's not even like any particular developer or publisher. It's just every fighting game that comes out, for whatever reason, they cannot launch
They all have all this
properly.
promise, and then they just like trip over something at the last second and just fall apart.
But this one did, apparently.
Yeah, it actually just works.
Yeah, good.
It runs really well. It's very smooth. I think it's rather pretty. I mean, it's not going to blow your socks off, but it is Unreal 4 engine. So, I mean, you kind of get the idea. They generally look pretty nice.
Yeah.
Nice and smooth. The netcode seemed fine. I saw people actually saying in the reviews that the netcode is so good that they were able to play internationally, and it felt totally good. Like, it just felt normal, which is fairly rare as well.
Yeah.
It's got all the modes you could really ask for right out of the package. It's got this thing called treasure mode with it's got a customizable character thing now where there's basically like, I don't know, it's probably like 250 items that you can unlock by playing treasure mode. And they'll either unlock for an individual character or across all characters. And you can go in and make custom slots, change the colors on all the items, make them look ridiculous. You can make like a Dan Giesling holding a fish with a pizza on his back if you want.
Sold.
Yeah, like that's an option. I mean, I couldn't make it look exactly like Dan. It doesn't let you like tweak their faces, but you can at least change their hair and their color and their clothes and their accessories and all that. And they've definitely gone in the realm of it being very absurd. They relish the idea of the game just being silly, stupid fun. And although they take the game very seriously in terms of the story, they kind of don't everywhere else. And I enjoy that about it. Tekken's just a silly game. And it's got a solid fighting system to it. It's got a really good feeling of impact. Everything about the controls feels just like you remember it. In fact, a lot of the old moves are still in the game, just sort of bolstered by a few new systems around it. They have this rage system now where it kind of functions a little bit like BlazBlue, actually, or Street Fighter is probably the more accessible example, where when you're kind of down a bit, you'll get this red aura around you, and then you can hit right bumper, and it'll give you this one, like an auto combo, that if you hit the first attack, you have like super armor for a minute, and they might be able to break your armor enough that it'll stop your attack, but usually it'll just start you taking off a quarter of their health. So that's like a nice way to come back from a losing position. The matches are very short as well, which is, I guess it's sort of a Tekken thing. Usually you can finish somebody off in 10 or 15 seconds, which means you'll be often in a position of doing many, many, many rounds just for fun. Like with the treasure mode, it works really nicely. You get ranks, you get unlockables, and you just move on to different arenas, different people, and just keep playing. It sort of starts to go on like a meditation. You're playing Tekken, your hands just take over, your mind can kind of stop, and you just enjoy it. Great soundtrack as well. In fact, there's almost nothing about it that I really didn't like at all.
Wow. That's awesome.
If I was to be really nitpicky, I wish there were more unlockable items, but there's going to be more later, more downloadable stuff as well. It's got almost every character that I've wanted in it, except it's missing, from what I can tell, Gon and Mokujin. There's probably going to be
Mokujin, isn't that the tree one?
The wooden man, yeah. That takes on everybody else's abilities. They pay homage to him. I mean, they show a picture of him somewhere, but like he's not in the game as far as I know. Unless he's secret. He might be secret.
We got Kuma in there, though.
Yeah, you've got Akuma, or Kuma and Akuma.
Kuma, okay, good. Yeah, thanks.
the Street Fighter character Akuma, and also the bear.
Correct.
And also a panda.
Good.
There's a second bear. It's like a lady bear that hangs out with the big bear.
You gotta have a lady bear.
Yeah, and you can customize him too. You can change his shirts and his outfits and stuff. Give him 3D glasses if you want.
Yes. Oh my god.
Isn't there a Jaguar Head Man and then
King?
Robot Jaguar
That's
Head
King.
Man?
There's
Armor
King
King.
and Armor King.
Armor King, yeah.
If you wouldn't
I don't
mind.
know if Armor King is in it actually, unless you can dress him up that way.
Oh, if King's in there, Armor King's in there.
I don't
just
know.
gotta
I didn't
unlock
see him in
Armor
the
King.
character roster.
What if he's like a hidden character? They're hidden characters?
I don't know. I haven't actually played through arcade mode yet, so I assume there's probably ending unlocks. And I started the story mode. It was really, really melodramatic, and I read some reviews actually, kind of complaining that it was not really approaching Tekken in the way that they thought it should have been, and that it's largely you're picking random characters at certain moments in the story, and then fighting a bunch of like random robots for a while. Which, okay, but Tekken 6 kind of did it better. I don't know. I don't play it for the story, so personally, it didn't
I really do wonder how many folks are interested in those storylines. Not from a place
Somebody
of cynicism,
must be,
but
'cause
like
they put a lot of effort into it.
yeah, but like I think about like the Mortal Kombat one, which people were kind of into, right? And was very detailed. And oh, goody, hey, I've got a virus on my computer, sweet.
Oh,
But
All right.
oh god,
that's not fun.
get out of here.
There's Injustice 2 story mode, right? Like,
Yeah, I've
that's the
heard
whole
that
thing,
one's
right?
actually fantastic, although I
Yeah.
haven't played it still.
I watched a bit of the first story mode for Injustice 1. Seemed pretty cool. I actually like fighting game story modes because, like, I don't really like playing competitively online. It's just not my jam. I hate the fighting game community.
And I'm a super casual fighting game guy too, so like don't get me wrong, it's not like I'm gonna get into this, get really competitive, and then worry about like the minutia of it. I mostly play it in broad strokes. So if you're a really big Tekken fan, there might be some more granular criticisms that you have that I'm not gonna pick up on. For me, as a sort of a casual player, though, it seems really solid. And performance-wise, it's definitely really solid. People with very low specs can actually run this game, which is great because this is the first Tekken that's ever been on PC. So to be able to say that you can run this on a variety of computers is just really nice. It's also got online lobbies, ranking mode, like I said, that treasure mode, which also has rankings associated with it, a shitload of unlocks in terms of like nameplates and titles, the usual stuff you see in like Street Fighter. They even let you customize your life bar, which is kind of something I've never seen done before. You can unlock new life bars and titles.
That other people can see it
clothing. Too? That's the thing. I couldn't tell if it's that you unlock them both life bars on your end locally, or they can see yours and then you can see theirs. It seemed like it was locally, but I'm not sure yet. I've only got about 4 hours into it, so I'm going to learn more as I play. And I also got the deluxe version because it comes with another character, and that character seems pretty cool. It's like a vampire lady with devil horns.
Dope.
So, if you care, the deluxe is a bunch extra. It doesn't seem like a ton of other stuff other than a few more items and that character. So they'll probably sell her separately later if you care about that. I think it was about $20 more. So I don't know if the value is there. I did get it at a discount, though. There's places you can find if you look around, seem to be able to get $15 off on it most of the time. So do or don't, that's up to you. But the value seems to be there for the normal price version of it, at least.
Awesome.
Any other questions about it?
No, I might actually get it, believe it or not.
The soundtrack's really good as well.
You did? Yeah, you mentioned that, yeah.
Oh, did I? Okay, I thought I didn't.
Yeah. I remember good times with Tekken, man. So I might be persuaded here. Although I'm sure I'll be quickly reminded of how terrible I am at video games when I.
That's okay. I went and played a few online, and lost them all, so that's fine. Me too.
Sweet.
I might get it myself too. Yeah, I like fighting games casually. I have a fun time with them.
Hey, that would be fantastic. I'd love to play fighting games with you guys. I didn't think any of you cared at all about that, so props.
I'm so bad at them. That's the only thing, man. Like I really can't beat Street Fighter on very easy. I actually can't do it. Like it's a shame, a mark of shame I wear to this day.
I think Tekken's a little more accessible than Street Fighter, personally. I mean, maybe the high level players would totally disagree with me, but I feel like there's plenty of depth, but I think the depth is a little harder to come by. So if you pick a character you really like, you just kind of mash for a while, you get a hang of how to move around.
Right.
And then eventually some of the subtlety will be teased out, but you don't have to try that hard.
When I lived in Korea, I had a friend who shamelessly spent like all of his free days at the arcade playing Tekken 6. And just watching him get styled on by 12-year-old Asian boys was like hearing you say that like Tekken is not as punishing. I just think back to like he gets low kicked and then just juggled for like 14 consecutive hits while his HP gets chipped away to like 2%.
You're right. I mean, just the low level play, the kind of casual stuff that I'm more into is probably a little more accessible. Because I guess that's kind of a thing in every fighting game now. If you're decent enough, you can combo somebody through their entire health bar.
Well, Tekken in particular, I think, has had that issue for a while, though, especially at the competitive level, where it's like you're playing two top-tier players against one another. The issue is who gets juggled first, and then that player loses.
Marvel vs. Capcom's the same way.
Yeah.
And in Blaze Blue, you can start a match, and the first to get a hit, you expect that person to win, unless they drop the combo, which they rarely seem to. So, I hate that level of play. That is not fun to me. I'd rather just have fun, hang out, and mash. And
like, that is, like, it's all skill, because they're inputting the correct sequence to perform the combo, but, oh, God, I agree with you in that. That is not entertaining or enjoyable for me, but to each their own.
I'm not looking down on them either. That's their prerogative. They want to be competitive. I'm just not that competitive is all.
This is why I'm a fan of non-traditional fighters, like Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah, we need, like, Brawlhalla's pretty good. Might even be very good, but there needs to be, like, a Super Smash Brothers quality game on PC. Because it really is something where, like, even if you're bad, at least you sort of know the language, where like you possess the mechanical skill to knock somebody off of the map. Whereas in Street Fighter or in Tekken, there's literally no chance for me to win at my present level unless they can't defeat Cheese, which they probably are going to be able to.
The other part of it, too, is the communities tend to be so vindictive and, like, egotistical, which really bugs me. It's like, not only did you beat me, but you got to show off your big dick about it, too. Like, great. Who cares? It's a video game. Calm down.
That's why I like those games. For Honor in the same way, honestly, where it's just, like, easy to learn, hard to master, whereas, like, most traditional fighting games are, like, hard to learn, much
harder to master.
Like super hard to master.
It actually took me like probably like an hour and a half to 2 hours to beat the tutorial to Skullgirls, because by the end of that tutorial they're like, all right, so we're gonna like give you a medium punch, and then you have to break it with a parry, and then punish with like your longest combo, and that'll build your meter and do a super to finish it off. And I was just sitting there like, and then you're like, I just can't.
Well,
I couldn't do it for so long.
I mean, you know, a lot of that terminology and the way they structure those things, it sort of builds on other iterations of fighting games. So they sort of expect you to have this inbuilt knowledge from playing like Gears of Street Fighter or something.
It's like learning Spanish, you know, like where
it's
you have
insular in a way, yeah.
You got to learn your left jab, and then you got to learn your right kick, and then you got to learn how to left jab, right kick, right punch, left kick. You know, you got to do all the convoluted
it's like playing
shit.
a Paradox game. You play one, you understand how to play the rest of them.
It helps. I mean, I've got hundreds of hours in the Blaze Blue series, and I still can't finish most of the tutorials for my main character. They're just above me. I just don't think I'll ever be able to, and that's okay. They do have that mode, though, the stylish mode that I know, Ryan, you like that in Persona 4 Arena, where it technically just kind of does stuff for you.
Like an auto combo?
Yeah, most of those games by that same developer have that mode now, so you can actually play Blaze Blue if you really wanted to.
Now it becomes like I'm forced into a corner and I gotta be like, if they make like a non-anime Blaze Blue, then the odds of me playing
You can just not play it, it's fine.
the odds of me playing that go up a little bit, but
Aren't you 1/3 of the way through all anime? I thought you were.
I have seen Ghost in the Shell and Spirited Away and like 8 episodes of Psycho-Pass. So some and I should watch Cowboy Bebop and I should watch Akira.
I have not seen Cowboy Bebop either. So
it's so good.
Please watch One Punch Man.
I did watch Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, though.
The more you do this, the less he's going to watch. Don't you?
Yeah, like Cowboy Bebop, though, I'm not an anime fan either. It's just a good show. It's not even like good for an anime. It's just good.
Mm-hmm. You know what? Here's a genuine Tekken 7 question.
Yeah.
Because I really liked this about Injustice, and that got me to play like 15 to 20 hours of Injustice, whereas, you know, normally when I play a fighting game, I just beat the story mode, go online, lose 20 times in a row, and never touch it again.
Yeah.
Does it have open lobby style with like a spectator mode built in?
I don't know.
All right.
No, I tried to do that last night and nobody else had the game, so I made a lobby and nobody came, and then I just played ranked. So
that makes sense. Because like with Injustice, you could set up a lobby and then you configure like the parameters and rules, so like winner stays, and then basically everybody just gets popped into a queue, and then you just go through and play each other over and over, and you can watch the game happening as well.
It has rooms. The only thing I don't know is if you fight matches simultaneously or if it's 1-by-1. So probably you can do that, one permutation of it anyway.
Word.
I'll find out soon enough.
Mm-hmm. I like that in Chivalry.
Yeah.
The dual mode.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, and Guilty Gear XRD version 2 just came out, so I'll be playing that as well. So I'll talk about that maybe next week.
Nice. Sweet.
As an aside, and I'll own up that like a month ago, I said we all know ARMS is going to be garbage, right? But then, like the ARMS open beta or whatever they were
ARMS
doing,
wide open.
Why didn't they do that?
Missed opportunity.
Damn it!
I forget what they actually call it, but apparently,
Test
like
punch.
test punch.
That's not
everybody who did that, who, at least that I saw, was like, "This is actually really good." So maybe that's an opportunity for me to be like, "Hey, get in on like the ground floor of
from
of a,
what I
of a
understand,
fighting game."
ARMS is to fighters what Splatoon is to shooters, basically.
That's good. That sounds like.
Are you gonna do this thing where now I get into Tekken and you're all gonna start playing ARMS?
That's actually what you're saying, though, is like, are you gonna do this thing where like I learn how to manipulate like nuclear isotopes, and you guys are gonna, you know,
That's
take
like
a
a lot
fourth
of
grade
crap.
start
science
turning
class.
the light switches on and off? Like, yeah.
I always thought it looked pretty good since the announcement. I thought that was like one of the rare, things.
ARMS?
Where like, oh, yeah, ARMS, yeah.
All
it looked
I
pretty
thought
cool.
when I saw ARMS, all I thought was the Wii Sports boxing game, and how every game inevitably devolved into people just like punching as fast as they can directly. Yeah, exactly.
Well, people say from the people who've played ARMS that I've talked to, they said the way to play is with the controller, not the motion.
Oh,
Play
really?
with the motion, play with the controller.
That's surprising,
Okay.
actually.
Oh, but it's not though. It's always the best way to play.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I would have thought that game was going to be designed specifically around not necessarily being competitive, but being more like, go for a right hook and go for a straight. You know what I mean? Like,
Who is that guy? But
Hey, I got to train you. Hey,
that's
you know what?
arms
You
coach.
Try a haymaker. You might be able to get him like that, and then maybe another one over there.
He's not very committed to being a coach. He seems like he's not all the way
He's
in.
really
I'm
uncertain
a great
about it.
coach. I've been coaching for 20 years. It's great, is it?
Oh,
The
it's a Rick
haymaker's
and
a
Morty
good one.
character is what it
Kinda,
is.
yeah. Like it's this kind of yeah.
I think if you give Rob long enough, eventually it just becomes a Rick and Morty.
It'll be
character.
Rick and Morty. Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. Tekken 7 is $50, $75 for the deluxe edition currently on Steam.
Scott, hold on. What are you causing shit in chat for, right?
You held up one of your arms, and I thought I saw like a bruise on your elbow, and then you held up the other arm. Yeah, what's going on with that? Did you fall off your bike or something?
This is way better than it was like a month or two ago. It's like I had a massive allergic reaction to something. And then I started using cortisone cream because I was like, oh, it's itching. And I found out I was allergic to cortisone. And it made my arms way worse. Yep, that was great. So it's been a slow heal since.
Oh, man. Well, I'm sorry, but
Oh, that's fine.
it is a hilarious story that you were allergic to the cure for
I couldn't
your
figure
ailment.
it out. Like, it took me a week to figure it out because, like, all of a sudden the rash got all over my arm and it was, like, on my stomach because I was, like, wiping it on my stomach after I was done. And I was like, why is there a rash on my stomach now?
Wiping it on your stomach after you were done?
Yeah, because you, like, rub it. It's like you get your hands wet and then you cover it. And then I was like, and then it's put on my stomach. I don't know what you want.
This guy comes in his belly button right now. That's what we're learning. That's what we've learned.
Hey, Mathis. Let's turn that conversation topic on a dime.
There's nothing on my stomach anymore, chat. Relax.
They want to see it.
Mathis,
Show stomach.
tell me about BattleTech.
BattleTech is the next game by Harebrained Schemes, being published by Paradox. They ran a Kickstarter a year ago, I think. And it's the same universe as Mech Warrior and Mech Commander and all that stuff. And what it's going to be is a turn-based XCOM style strategy game where you are going up against other mechs. And right now the backers beta is out, and all that gives is like a combat scenario where you can customize your mechs, their loadouts, this, that, and the other. And I really, really like it. It's very strategic. There's a lot of forward thinking you need to put into the maneuvers you're going to put because mechs have like weak armor on their back and some are more maneuverable than others. So if you try and get behind one mech, it may leave you open to maybe like two others. If you like XCOM, if you like turn-based strategy, or if you like the tabletop that it's based on, then I think you're really going to love BattleTech. The single player, what they plan on doing from ParadoxCon, what they said was it'll be you kind of commanding your own mercenary crew in this large open map of space where you can work for different people and influence the economy in certain ways, or follow certain story threads through to help them out or foil them. Your mech warriors, or the pilots of the mechs, will level up and get different skills. You'll be able to name them whatever you want, and then your mechs you can salvage, repair, strip for parts, attach to other mechs. Basically, if you've ever played any Mech Warrior, Mech Commander games, you're getting a turn-based version of that. And I freaking love that. And it's awesome. And the combat is super satisfying, and I really enjoy what's already there to play, which is always a very good sign.
I'm going to play it after the stream because they sent me a code.
Nice.
I want to play it. I've been like fucking fiending for a mech game. Like I want a good quarterback so bad.
He wants it so bad he wants you to make 3D models for a game.
Make it! Do it! I want a mech game.
Real talk,
Yeah.
on the Unity Asset Store, there is actually exactly the tools that you need. Somebody has already made, I read about it in like somebody else's Gama Sutra post. They've already made like a mech kit with modular mech parts that you can assemble as desired.
Cool.
That's awesome.
So you can just do it.
You have the
now.
pieces to the puzzle.
I'll learn Unity tonight after I play
I
some
found
just knock
there's
it
a
out.
blender kit. It's like a tool kit that gives you these little inset pieces that are like stencils. They look like decals, but then they're actually rendered in 3D after you're done with them. And it was only $15. So I was like, Rob would love if I bought this because I could make all these cool technical metal shapes.
Which Armored Cores did you play, Rob?
I think I actually started at 3, and I played like a bunch of them in that era.
You didn't
But
play
on
Another
3,
Age? Armored Core 2 Another Age, I think was the one.
No,
it must have been
I
right
guess
before you started playing it. Then shoot.
Well, it was weird because like it was like back in the day, like I wasn't staying up on news or anything.
Yeah.
When Armored Core 3 was around, it was just like walk into GameStop, see what's cool, and be like, oh, that's cool. It's on sale for $10. Let's get
man.
that and go for a
Young
Hangman.
Rob sounds a lot like Arms Coach.
So, but I played a couple of those. I didn't play any of the next gen, which is now the previous gen Armored Cores. Although I've heard that they were pretty good. So, but mainly it's like the customization which BattleTech has, which I'm pumped about. I love. I'm a sucker for customization in anything. But like with a mech, it's just like, yeah, I'm gonna get a fucking machine gun for my arm, and then have like fucking shoulder rockets on the. Dude, it's badass. And you know what? It reminds me because when I was a kid, we used to have like drawing time in elementary school, and they gave us stencils with animals and stuff. And they would, you have like a cow, you stencil out a cow or a chicken or something. But what I used to do is I used to like add like lasers to them, or like rocket packs and stuff to the stencils. So I think that's really why I like mechs.
Oh man, we boiled that down to an interesting little nugget about Rob today. That feels nice.
You like mech games because you miss your childhood.
Yeah,
I do. Yeah,
put you on the therapist couch today, dude.
It makes me actually want to make a game where farm animals, barnyard animals have customizable machine
How does that not exist?
It kind of does with Goat Sim. Like you can get the jetpack on the goat.
No, I'm talking like you got to do like a Plants vs. Zombie style sort of thing where you've got like these customizable farm animals defending your farm from. Yeah. Call it fucking. Might as well do zombies. Sure. Yeah. Defend your farm from zombie attacks with customizable weaponry on the back of a sheep.
What if it was plants and they shot peas and butter?
I don't think that would work. People wouldn't like that.
I don't think so either.
No.
Yeah, you're right. That's a terrible idea.
Might as well just make it into a first-person shooter instead. Yeah. People would rather that.
Like a team-based thing, like a.
I've brought it up, I think, like several times though. Like I'm right where you are, Rob. Which is to say that like I had that. Well, I didn't draw laser beams on sheep stencils, but I loved the customizing mech games. I loved the Armored Core 2, especially their arena system, where you were customizing your mech to defeat different styles of mechs, and you had to like particularize your loadout based on you're right in my wheelhouse there, exactly.
Yeah,
and
I didn't like the campaign, but that mode,
exactly. So yeah, I'm pretty much in the same boat with this. I'm probably gonna play it. I'm probably gonna love it, and glad to hear
it's
that
a lot slower paced. So. As long as you're okay with that. Like there's a lot of heat management and stability management because your mechs came to get knocked over. If they overheat, they shut down, which will give the enemy the ability to take a targeted shot on your mech, so they can shoot for like the legs or the cockpit or the arms or weapons and blow those off. And that's why the strategy element for me is what really knocks it out of the park.
Yeah, awesome. All right, well, I'm looking forward to that. That's the beta, of course, like Mathis said. It's the Kickstarter backer beta, and the full version. Do we have info on that yet? I'm not 100% sure. I think they
said 2018.
Yeah, I think it might be next year.
It's going to be a while out. Like actually today, they were going to do a stream that I was going to be on, but they pushed it back because
that's right.
Multiplayer is not working yet. So
it says 2017 on their website. So
okay.
Yeah. Who knows?
No hard date yet, but yeah, we'll follow along with that one. And let's go to... All right, I gotta be honest with you, man. This one came out of nowhere for me, but Nick, please tell me about Bokida Heartfelt Reunion.
I'm sorry it came out of nowhere. I wish it didn't, though, because this game has actually been in development for like 4 years.
Really?
And I've actually streamed it a bunch of times and done videos on it, and nobody's heard of it.
Oh fuck! Now I feel a lot worse. Please tell me.
I wish it didn't come out of nowhere. So Bokida is a very odd game. It is developed by and published by Rice Cooker Republic. The idea and this has sort of morphed over the years since it started as an early thing and sort of turned into a full game. But the idea at first was that it's a very minimalist sandbox physics game where you can create shapes and then cut them up into little bits and use them for various things to explore this big, stark, white world. And what it turned into now is a very sort of therapeutic puzzle physics platformer. You still have that big open sandbox world, and you still have the cutting things apart, But now there's a story in it, and it's got a really nice minimalist soundtrack too. It's got a Metroidvania element as well, where you're unlocking powers as you go. Like I think the third one is like you can invert gravity.
Oh.
So half of the game is uncovering the story, the other half is solving puzzles, and in that is a bit of exploration where you have to kind of tease out all the cracks in the landscape to find little orbs and try and find each puzzle to get to the monoliths that you then use to, I guess, eventually finish the game. I played about 4 hours of it, and it's really a nice permutation or iteration of what it was years ago, only now it feels like a fleshed out, finished game. It's a very difficult one to describe why you should want to play it without actually just playing around in it. But once you mess around with putting a bunch of blocks down and then slicing them up into little pieces, you kind of get it. It's like, oh, this is just fun. It's half fun and half contemplative. And depending on your mood, it can be either relaxing or engaging, right? So, like I said, I don't really know how to sell the game as much as probably it deserves to be sold, which is maybe why it's getting a little bit slept on. But I would say you should at least give it a try or watch a video or something, get the idea of it.
Yeah.
Because nobody's talking about this game, and it should be talked about, in my opinion. Would I say it's similar to Anti-Chamber?
Yeah. Oh, that was the one. I was trying to remember the name of the game.
Actually, yeah, in some ways. Not nearly as surreal. The game feels a little bit more grounded in, like, I said grounded in, so there you go. In some sort of, I want to say like religious mythology, but I don't know where the story goes enough to say yet. It seems like you're coming up with the story between these either two entities, whether they be lovers or planets or natures, gods, I don't know, but two things that are attracted to each other and can't be together until you solve these puzzles. And the puzzles largely seem to be made up of building blocks and cutting them in certain ways. Or one of them is you have to grow trees in a certain direction. So very abstract stuff, but not nearly as playfully surreal as Anti-Chamber. But I do see the relation between the two in the fact that they're both very sparsely visual. They both have a very sort of cel-shaded, flat color kind of aesthetic to them. Yeah,
definitely. Is it... I'm trying to figure out, like, is it an open world, sort of?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It is totally open, yeah. And when you start out, actually, if you've seen some of those screenshots of Manifold Garden, it's got that sort of Escher-like infinite worlds going in every direction thing to it.
Yeah.
So it's got this metaphysical vibe to it that I can't quite put my finger on, but that seems to be the thing about it in every direction. Can't quite put my finger on what it is. It's amorphous in that way.
Sure. This actually looks like something I would love, not just enjoy. Like this looks awesome. So,
it's very peaceful. It's very calm.
Well, cool. Well, there we go. I've got something to check out probably. Bokida Heartfelt Reunion. Anything else you want to mention on it? I think you're sort of having to be cryptic in your recommendation here.
Well, I have to be cryptic because there's nothing so straightforward about it that I can say other than what I said already.
Right.
I did just for fun and to give you the idea of the playful side. You can build blocks way up into the sky and then just like build a city up there if you want out of more blocks.
Oh, cool.
And then cut the base of it and all of it will fall down to the ground and explode.
Nice.
So if you want to play around with stuff, there's plenty of options. You've got a big, nice tool set of physics tools to play with. Just go in there and mess around.
That sounds
interesting.
Similar to what Ryan and I attempted in Astroneer, trying to build our little moon base in the sky. Didn't go so hot.
Is the expansion going to be called Banana?
Bokida Banana?
Yes.
All right, good to know.
I don't get it.
Glad you got that in there.
Chiquita Banana. It's like a Chiquita Banana.
But do you call them Chiquita bananas?
It's like a commercial.
It used to be a jingle. They say it a bunch of times, which is probably why it's in his head like that.
What about the one that's like, give me your plate, mama, give me your plate, mama? You know that one?
I don't actually know.
What are you talking about?
Canadian only one, I guess.
I would have known it if it was American.
See, I thought that's what you were talking about there.
No. Chiquita Banana.
Chiquita.
It is Chiquita, actually. I don't know what you're saying Chiquita for.
Quay?
Quay? Can I get some queso dip?
How is Trace the Centaur squatting up to Dar?
Can we get like a Rosetta Stone for
Dan?
Yeah, like the Dan language.
Yeah.
It shows pictures and then like has you associate them with words.
Oh man.
I want that. I want the app where, you know, like Duolingo has this little bird that'll pop in every now and then, like, hey, you're doing great. It's just Dan's face, like, I'm watching you.
Where you could take pictures of like the Skype things he writes, and then it'll sort of translate them, but like make it a quiz.
Yeah.
So you've got to figure it out.
This is a good idea, straight up.
That's $100 idea right there.
Right there.
But it also
$100
Googling
recoupable
translator
cost.
simulator.
Would the
They're doing
language
a-
be known as Gizelese?
I was just thinking language.
Dangle.
I love
language is
language.
good, yeah.
Speaking of Dan, CBS is running a poll. Who's the most memorable Big Brother player of
Oh,
all
really?
time?
Where's
Yeah.
that?
They're on round 2 right now.
memorable.
CBS.
CBS.com?
Yeah, the ultimate Big Brother tournament.
He's the only one that leaves voicemails on my phone, so I'm not going to forget him.
Who is? Oh, Mike Boogie or Dan?
All right.
Come
No
on.
choice.
Come on, here.
No choice.
Hands up,
Mike-
71-29 right now.
Hell yeah.
Dan masterminded Boogie's exit on that show. It's season 14, so come on now.
I got a new Dan voicemail if you guys want me to play it. I don't know if that's like...
Is it good, though?
It's fine. I don't know, is this a roundtable thing, or should I save this for Monday?
Dude, by all
I
means.
mean, yeah, I'm not gonna stop you.
Fair.
I'm still looking for this vote. I can't find it.
Oh, I've linked it in the chat.
Oh, okay,
All
there
right.
we go.
Exclusive Dan G voicemail coming up.
I'm ready.
Nice.
Nick, what's up? It's me. So I'm sitting here driving, listening to some Kanye West. I got inspired by your recent shotgun 3D model and the GIMP GNU system you've been using. Anyways, enough about that. What I was thinking was that you could actually model Goldman in your whatever hacker program you use to model mesh stuff up. Anyways, you model Goldman, but you replaced yourself with the model Goldman, much like some of those characters on Twitch where it's like a 3D sprite talking. Anyway, so you do that, and instead of texturing it with pixels, you texture with real 24-karat gold.
Ooh.
Think about it.
Ooh.
Did you hear the
Instead of-
sound he made at the end when he left?
He just hangs up.
He went...
Instead of texturing it with pixels, you texture it with real 24-karat gold.
So a puppet was a dude.
And it's
That would
like
be
an
awesome.
animated sprite that somehow is me.
So you model it, then you 3D print it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Coated in
24
gold.
karat gold.
Coated in
Animate
marionette
it,
thing
and then
going on.
print it again, but
Yeah.
animated.
Think about it.
How's that?
Dan is just
how's
high
that
on
poll?
fatherhood.
How's that poll going?
It's
'Cause he
looking
was
good.
at 71-29. Oh, 72-28.
Fuck
Let's
yeah.
go.
Hell yeah.
When you do the notes at the end of the show, can you label this the Dan Giesling portion of the roundtable?
The problem is Dan's gonna make it to the finals, but he's gonna go up against Will, and it's gonna be it's gonna be hard.
Well, that's
to beat
when we're
Dr.
needed.
Will.
Does
That's
he
where
still
we're
get-
needed.
Does he get $50,000 for this poll?
Yeah, what happens if you win the poll?
I think he gets sent back into the Big Brother house.
He can never escape.
Like, they just show up at his house and like, we're here to kidnap you, Dan.
Could we get the vote to win him the 50,000, then he'll split it with us, maybe?
Sure.
That sounds pretty. Well, that's probably like illegal, right?
Oh.
What you just said.
Oh.
That's
Well,
probably
you
wrong.
ruined it.
Let's just start a taunting.
What's a tontine?
That's one of those pools where everybody puts in money and the last person alive gets all of it.
Oh, isn't that? Wait, that's not. What is that? Is it called a
Do we have to?
tontine?
Do we have
called
to
a
cut?
taunting.
Do we have to cut it open and sleep inside it if it gets too cold?
That's a tauntaun.
Yeah. Right.
It's a
yeah,
dead
that's-
pool.
Shit. Yeah.
That's how he got his name.
A
Little known
taunting is indeed illegal as well.
Well, yeah. Considering you said last one alive, I would assumes
Doesn't
that.
it encourages and incentivizes the people to kill each other?
I think that's part of it.
I found a Washington Post article about tauntines. It's sleazy, it's totally illegal, and yet it could become the future of retirement.
That's when Social Security dies. Everybody just puts. It'll be like Battlegrounds. 100 people put $10,000 each into a pool, and the last person alive gets $1 million.
You get dropped in an island
in Russia somewhere.
It doesn't. You don't have to actually kill everybody. I'm just saying, if you're the last person alive out of your 100-person pool, you get $1 million. There you go.
Disable them.
And you don't know who the other pool is. One day you just get a letter. It's like, here's $1 million.
Good job outlasting those other fools. Cool. All right. We got one more game on the docket here, and that's Star Trek Bridge Crew. Get back into the VR space, boys. We're going in.
I thought we were going to do Dead Cells too.
No, we did Dead Cells like 2 weeks ago.
I don't know. I was just asking. I thought this was
part of our Game of the Month conversation round. That's what you're thinking of.
Potentially.
That's what it is, yeah. Star Trek Bridge Crew was just released a couple days ago. It is, I'm pretty sure it's VR exclusive. I think it is VR
100%
exclusive.
VR exclusive right now.
So there's no just desktop version of this. But with that being said,
suck as a desktop game.
It definitely would. Yeah, it would be no fun at all. But as a VR game, it's pretty fucking cool. So I went ahead and went through the single player experience, quite a bit of it. I played the tutorial, and then I played a few of the single player missions. And just going through the tutorial, it became clear to me the one concern I had right out of the gate was, can they make it fun for every member of the crew? And I think the answer to that, for now, for me, is yes, because they did two things. They made each role important. They gave each role very specific tasks that they need to do in order to succeed. And they also made the roles interdependent upon one another to certain lengths. So, for example, when you are the helmsman, you are in control of... Yeah, there
Geordie
you go.
LaForge time, actually. Let's do
this is, way more appropriate here than it ever has been in this segment.
Yeah.
So when you're the helmsman, you can control the, the pitch and the yaw of the ship, and you're actually accelerating and decelerating. But to do that more effectively, of course, you have to have your engineer over here diverting the power to those systems. So you've got, not very complicated, but, they've got some intricacies to them that you need to learn, the different positions.
It's like the submarine game we played on the NLSS. Right?
Similar.
Similar. Yeah, I think
I'll load the missiles over and over again, and you guys do everything else.
The thing with this though is it's like I mentioned, they have to make the roles not just you're sitting there waiting for something to do, and that a good part of it is just you're sitting around because you're out floating around in space and it's Star Trek, and there's not always a ship attacking you at every given moment, but it feels engaging, which I think is the most important part of this. It feels
I actually think the weakest link in the game when it comes to multiplayer is the captain. I think unless the group of you are going to take your roles quote unquote seriously, the captain has the least to do because he's going to be looking at objectives and he can bring up communications on the screen. But outside of pinging where they want to go next, the captain kind of is just there to give orders and direction. If everybody's go fuck yourself, I'm doing my own thing, captain kind of doesn't have much to do.
He can't really change that either, is the thing.
No,
he's not really in direct control of any particular system. He's just yeah, you're right. He's kind of he is the captain. And I guess that's... Yeah. It's interesting to consider because even I queued up a couple of times for just quick play, just to sort of hop in and see how it would go. And both times I queued up, I got put in the captain role just because I assumed it was because nobody wanted to be the captain because nobody wants to be barking orders at strangers on the internet, which I also didn't really want to, but I figured, fuck it, I might as well.
Might as well, yeah.
And then, but now you're starting to make me think, it's probably just because the other positions are more fun, and they probably chose them ahead of the captain's
spot. A lot more interaction, a lot more to fiddle with.
Yeah. But, I tend to agree with that, and the captain is a little lacking there. But going back to what I was talking about with the immersion, with the engagement, you can allow yourself to fall into this make-believe role so easily once you start playing this game, and it's so cool the way that happens. Like it feels so natural to just all of a sudden like be speaking as though you're an engineer aboard this ship. Like it's cool to just get into that mindset with a bunch of strangers right away, and there's not really anything weird to it. It's just okay, increasing thruster vector now, Captain. That kind of shit. You know, like it just makes sense, and it's what you're doing literally with your whole body. It's happening.
Yep.
Give it a rolling gut cotton.
There's a lot of little details in the environment that were like incredibly impressive for me. Like when I first booted it up, like on the view screen, it's the view screen is glass, and it was showing like a slight reflection of the stuff, and I'm like, hold on, and you turn around, you're like, oh crap, that's like reflecting like the scenery behind me. That's really cool. Or when you are in the chair and you're turning to talk to people, like your character will like swivel in his chair, and like turn and it really immersive. His neck doesn't just go.
The hands, like if you pull your hand up to your face, you can like slowly curl your finger down, and you can ball up your fist, like just little details like that.
And like really watching other people play, and like they're looking around at the screen, and their hands are moving around through all the holographic things and pressing buttons. It looks like Star Trek.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like when you're the engineers just like messing around with stuff, it looks good. I'm so glad they did little things where you don't look like a possessed demon when you turn your head. They just swivel their chair and they look at you and they talk to you. Like that kind of stuff is really, really good. I agree with you. It's really fun. I think there's a lack of depth of the game after the first few hours. But if your multiplayer is really where it's at, if you can get a bunch of Trekkies together and just like play this for a few hours, you're gonna have a good time.
Do you need to care at all about Star Trek for this, or is that sort of ancillary?
No.
You don't have to.
You don't. You can completely play it without giving a crap about Star Trek, and it's still going to be a lot of fun to interact.
I think I was telling you guys, like, I really only have exposure to Star Trek by virtue of it being Star Trek. You know, like I can't avoid it if I tried, but I don't really know anything about it apart from that, and I didn't really feel out of place or anything. It's just like. I mean, Star Trek is more of just the brand name than anything. Like, Star Trek sells the game, I think, more than it's part of the actual game itself.
My other important question is, and I already know what the answer is going to be, but can you play with both Vive and Oculus together in the same match?
So the game was marketed as fully cross-compatible between PSVR, Oculus, Vive.
Whoa!
Okay,
yeah.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work right now. I tried to set it up. Two of us had a Vive, one of us had an Oculus, one of us PSVR. And the Vive people could connect to each other, me and the other person, but the other two people couldn't connect. It's a bug. They're working on fixing it. It will be cross-compatible when they fix it. I don't know how. Here's the thing. I don't know how much of it's the game or how much of it's fucking Uplay.
That's Uplay.
Because it's a Ubisoft game. You're forced to use Uplay. So
wait. So if you run on Oculus, that means you've got to have the Oculus thing open and Uplay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same with the Vive. You got to have Steam VR and Uplay open.
How is it to set up seated VR on the Vive?
All I did for mine was I took one lighthouse and I just put it on my monitor as like a camera.
I just moved my chair out into the area of my boxes.
Are they all seated, or is there any standing?
Everything is seated.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, I'll play this with you guys if you want.
I would love to play this with us. Like I
love to. I think it's to make some fun content. So. But yeah, that was my issue, my worry, Ryan, too. And it was all you need is one lighthouse plugged in and booted up, and you're good to go. If you have it in a situation where you have it already, like you can put it into two corners, you can just sit where you are as long as it can see you. You're good.
Will they let you set up seated VR in something below the minimum space for room scale?
Yeah,
I think they do. Yeah.
Yeah. All I did was I didn't even have to redo it. I just turned on one. And as long as it can see you, it's like, you may want to switch it to mode A since you're only using one. And I was like, okay. And then it was perfectly fine.
I'm moving it from a room where it's set up for room scale to the office, which is not large enough. So.
Mine was set up for room scale, too. I didn't have to redo anything. So it's good. It's fun. I agree. It's very immersive. I do think it's a little pricey at $50.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for like a VR game... Like, this is the first, like, game.
It's not the first. It's not the first.
What does that mean? Like, is there enough content to justify the 50, or are you just saying it's just popular?
I feel like with everything on VR right now, you just pay a premium because the install base is so low.
You're going to get a good 5 hours out of it, and then there's, like, infinite missions where you can just replay, like...
Oh, so there is actually a campaign. It's not like each mission...
Yes, there is a single-player campaign. Correct.
Okay.
Correct. There is a campaign. One of the cool things, I don't know if you checked it out, Bear, but you can only do it in multiplayer, I think. Maybe you can do it in a single player, is play like hard mode, where you're flying on the original Enterprise from the
oh, really?
But it's hard mode because nothing is labeled. It's all those glowing buttons from like the old TOS set.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're like, what the fuck does it do? You can turn on like a helper. It'll tell you like label everything, what it does. But without it, it's just like big square, like red button, blue button from like the 60s. It's like,
that's awesome.
I would love to see like a crew like learn that and play it without any tutorial help.
Yeah. But as far as the content goes, too, I haven't really gotten very far into this particular part of it. But I know that for the multiplayer, there is sort of a generate content system going on where you can like you queue up with a bunch of people and then you can like set parameters. So like we want to play recovery missions, or we want to play firefights, or we want to do X and Y. So it seems like there's this sort of system in place right now where you can just jump in and then for like an hour or two the game will just keep giving you shit.
And generating missions. Rescue these people or whatever. Yep.
And the way that worked in story mode, I really liked it just because it felt so fluid, the way they had you move from point to point, and everything felt so natural the way it came up. So if it's anything like that, I have actually pretty high hopes for it, because that was, like I said, like it's really a lot of what they have done contributes so well just to the immersion of being a part of the bridge crew, and like that is the integral part of this. Can I just lose myself into thinking I am this person in this role? And it does a really great job of that. And that's about all I had to say about it, too.
As a Star Trek fan, as a Star Trek nerd, I only watched it being played because obviously my Vive doesn't work. Woo!
Yay!
But as a Star Trek nerd, it does seem really, really cool, because it does that thing that I always want out of those space games where everybody has just one role. However, I do hope that if they continue it or make another series, I know they're adding more missions and stuff, right? But if they continue it, I would like to see some like a little bit more Star Trek-y missions to it, because like right now it's sort of similar to my gripes with what the trailer for the new Star Trek show, which is like looks like an action show. That's not Star Trek.
But isn't part of the point that they have the biggest possible pool of users to gain?
Absolutely.
So they don't want to alienate anybody that might not be into Star Trek, so they want to keep it sort of open.
And you need to give your tactical officer something to do.
Right. Yeah. like I totally get that, and I respect that. But what I mean is, like, if they add other missions at some point, I would like, because it would be cool. Because the thing about Star Trek is, like, a lot of it is like intrapersonal relationships and how people react to more
you want to bang an alien,
questions.
I understand.
Well, that too, yeah. But,
I want to be
like, morally, like, ethically challenging questions, and I think that could be really fun in a setting with, for people, and it's like should we save this lady, but we have to commit genocide on
They
this whole
kind of give
planet,
you a
or-
taste
No.
of that, actually, like right at the end of the training mission. They do
Taste of
some
genocide.
It's the Kobayashi Maru test, man. They give you an impossible choice with no winning answer.
That's pretty cool.
at the end of the tutorial. It's great.
Yeah, that's
Do
awesome.
you push the man off the train, or do you...
Well, it is like a
shit like that would I would actually really like
you
that.
make a choice. Do you cross into the neutral zone or not to rescue a ship that's like broken down over there? And then do you start rescuing people or start murdering warbirds?
Right.
In space, they always kill you 100% of the time if you try to rescue them, right? Nobody is friendly in space. They just give you the appearance until you go to help them. I think that's the lesson I've learned.
Is that the old adage, nobody is friendly in space?
Friendly in space. Yeah, that's from watching enough media. I think I've taken that in.
But like, going back to your point, Rob, I really don't think that they can afford to even be like a Star Trek game, weirdly enough. Like, they're so niche already that they gotta sell to the entire VR consumer base, I'm sure, at this point, to even be profitable. So
Oh no, I totally agree. But I mean, even if there's just like a couple, for me, I'd be very happy about that.
Sure.
But I don't know if it would be profitable at all to have ethical decisions. Although The Witcher 3 is a very Popular game. Same.
The Witcher 3 fucking sold more copies this year than it did last year.
Did it really?
In the
If
first
Mass
quarter,
Effect-
anyway.
If Mass Effect went in that direction of the bridge crew idea, I think that probably would have been better than Andromeda.
Hell yeah, I would do that. That sounds great. That would make me want to play Mass Effect.
I want a freaking Star Trek RPG so bad. Bridge Commander was
Like
the
a good
closest
one.
we got
Yeah.
back in like the early 2000s.
Yeah, they have like Star Trek Online, but like then it does the thing where it doesn't give
No.
you the bridge. That's
I
what I
used to-
want. I want
listen,
the bridge. I want
remember when
each
Star
person
Trek-
to play a different role.
Star Trek Online barely started its development before it was picked up by any developer, and their plan initially, and I remember following it closely, was that it was going to be a ship had to be manned by players, and each role had a bunch of things they do with mini games and stuff, and then it got picked up, and then we're going to try and turn it into like a WoW-ish game.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It'll be the WoW killer of 2017,
Yep, there it is.
Yeah.
Finally.
right after Conan Exiles.
And the relaunch of Perfect or Unknown Worlds or Perfect World. What is it called?
Perfect
Secret
Dark?
World.
The Secret World of Alex Mack, yeah.
The sequel of Alex Mack. Legends Perfected.
MMO.
MMO.
All right, Star Trek Bridge Crew. It's $50. It's available right now. It's on every single VR platform, PSVR, Oculus, and the Vive. And that's going to take us into the May Game of the Month. Game of the Month, new segment we're doing here on the show. We decide what our Game of the Month was. Doesn't really require any explanation beyond that. I'm going to go ahead and toss it over to Rob to start off with, because you're our special guest here. Rob, what was your favorite game in the month of May that you played?
Well, I will say there's a caveat.
Yeah. Is that caveat this particular game came out in early access this month?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. No,
that's the thing,
That's a
is that,
caveat
like-
we're going to become very familiar with in the next 10 to 15 minutes here.
Because the thing is, I really like Dead Cells. I think it's really great. But there are some not even just that it's not a released game, but like there are some aspects of it that are like this is early access. Like for instance, one of the things that I actually haven't played it in a couple of days, and one of the reasons is because I got to the second boss, and I just don't think he's designed that well. He's got like just way too much. It feels like encountering a Hush in Isaac. You know, it's just like like a crazy amount of health, and it's like a 20-minute long fight when the rest of the game is like really quick.
Yeah.
You know, and that I didn't like very much, but again, it's early access, so it's going to keep getting developed. So I would say Dead Cells. Dead Cells. I'm not a huge. Surprisingly, I'm not a crazy huge roguelike fan, even though I made like 300 episodes of Isaac back in the day, but. There's not a lot that catch my attention, but Dead Cells did.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can't have an early access game, then Friday the 13th. I actually really like that game. I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Fair enough. All right. Anybody else feel like taking it here?
I'll deviate from the what I feel is gonna be the norm.
All right,
and I'm
all
gonna
right.
say Prey was my game of
Okay.
May.
Yeah.
I really love that game, and I'm not done with it yet. I'm almost done. I think I'm halfway.
I heard the ending was awful, or like the last act.
I hear there's multiple endings, but I'm not sure.
I meant the last act, not the ending.
Okay, it might be garbage, but really like it a lot. It was what I was hoping BioShock would have been, like the sequel-ish to System Shock. It's more System Shock than BioShock was, and I think that's why I like it a lot. The first 45 minutes to the hour of that game, I still stand by being one of the best openers to games in a very long time.
Oh, yeah. I agree
It is
with that.
an awesome opener, and the game holds up really well. So, it's good.
Good shit. Nick?
Have we ever established whether the game had to have come out in the month that you played it, or does it matter?
I think it
has
does.
to have come out in May.
I think it does.
Probably.
Otherwise, PUBG for all the time for Ryan.
Wait, but you can only pick one once.
Correct. Correct.
And I think he threw that one in last month or the month before. Anyway, I was probably gonna have it be Rhyme, because I have a feeling that that's gonna be fantastic. I just was waiting for a performance patch, so I haven't played it yet. So I guess that's gonna be June's one then, most likely. So I guess I have to go with Dead Cells or GoldenEye Source. But GoldenEye Source never came out,
Right.
so
Dead Cells by default there.
so probably Dead Cells by default there. I agree that the game still needs some work. It's definitely not finished yet, but it's very high potential. It's definitely perfect in terms of its idea towards its execution. It just needs more time.
Ryan?
It's Dead Cells. It's extremely likable and one of the few roguelites that's mechanically fun beyond the slot machine pull of just seeing what's in the item room. And it needs more content, I suppose, is the obvious thing to say, but it's very, very good.
Have any of you guys checked out the Elemental update for it yet?
No, probably later tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I played it today. Does that just introduce like elemental weapons? And
you have to be on the experimental branch or the beta branch of the Steam build.
Okay. What do they add? Like
it adds pretty much what you'd expect. There's a few new enemies that I've seen. There's quite a few new weapons. There's some small quality of life changes, like they made going down ropes and ladders a lot faster and just more intuitive.
Oh, thank God.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, and then they made shields a lot better too. They actually changed
thank
all
God.
shields so that they all have this passive bonus that adds a small force field every time you get hit if you have one equipped. So
Yeah, because shields are pointless.
yeah, shields were
otherwise.
garbage otherwise,
Yeah.
so now they're at least sort of usable.
I still thought the shield was better than like a third of the ranged weapons.
Really?
Yes, definitely. I
Like
agree
the
with
heavy crossbow is, I find almost unusable.
Heavy crossbow,
And
I just treat like a shotgun mostly.
that's you just roll close to them and then
Yeah,
tap them.
uh-huh.
But like, and I feel like unless you get a great one, the ice bow is kind of like,
Yeah.
like why would I ever shoot somebody and freeze them? Like there's already 25 different skills that I can get that can do that instead.
It's
but
basically
better.
as soon as you get like the electric whip or throwing knives, you're good on your second.
Those ones
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of.
Yeah.
I kind of feel the same way about swords though. I'm like, the rapier is great, and blood sword and twin daggers are great, and then the assassin's blade is like okay.
Assassin's Blade's pretty good.
It's a
Sometimes
little too long of a cooldown period between the animation that kind of screws me up a lot.
Yeah.
The timing's weird.
One of the issues actually is that a lot of the weapons are based around the crit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crit is so powerful that there's kind of no reason to use anything else that doesn't have any kind of
Yeah,
crit effect
exactly.
on it. Like it is the thing. So
even like if you have like a rapier level 1 or 2,
Yeah.
you have to get like a vanilla sword or something of that level that's like level 8 to even
yeah.
consider it, because you're like,
Exactly.
why would I ever want this unless the base damage from this sword is better than the crit from the rapier? So
They've got a few new they got a few new melee weapons in the elemental update as well. So they got like a broadsword that has this really big sweeping arc to it that takes a little longer to hit with, but does a lot of damage, obviously. And then there's a couple other weapons that take that same formula, just applied to different sorts of effects. But yeah, it looks like they've got like a really good idea of what people are looking for more content as well, which is really promising too for this game.
and one thing that I want to say about shields,
Yeah.
just take out the guard break, man. Just don't have
Yeah.
the guard break mechanic. Like it doesn't need it. You don't need to nerf them. They're not that strong.
Mhm.
You know. I just don't think it's a good mechanic.
Sure.
In my opinion.
All right. Mine was also Dead Cells, not surprisingly, I'm sure. And I think it's safe to say now that we're including early access releases in the Game of the Month candidacy. But yeah, there we go.
We gotta play more games.
I mean,
Dead Cells is like really good though.
Dead
No,
Cells-
it really is, and it probably would have won out. I just mean we didn't have a lot of options between the group of
Yeah.
us.
you're right.
It-
Yeah.
It came out of nowhere too. Is the other thing
Mhm.
for me at least. I don't know. I didn't know that it was. I knew about Flint Hook coming out. I knew about
Don't talk about
Tumbleseed.
No, we don't talk about. I mean, like officially, there's a couple of games I think come close. And to be honest with you, Oxygen Not Included, I might like as much or more than Dead Cells. The difference right now is I'm like playing Dead Cells and not playing Oxygen Not Included. But then when do you count Oxygen Not Included? Like it came out in early access this month, but it's been in like stealth early access for 4 or 5 months or something
right,
like
yeah.
that. So who knows? And then the other one is Oxygen Not Included. I think is like fantastic, but
Really, yeah.
the other one is just my pet case, which is Tumbleseed, I mean, we don't need to talk about that again. I think Dead Cells is probably better than Tumbleseed, but Tumbleseed did not get the credit that I think it should get, but that doesn't mean that it should be. It's like a political choice for Game of the Month, basically. I think Dead Cells is a better game, but Tumbleseed is like the most slept on.
Word.
Okay. So, like, we should just make the rule then it doesn't matter when the game came out because we never know when games come out anymore. Just you can only pick it once. How about that?
But no, but then like, why not just say Super Metroid for June?
Because I wouldn't do that. We're talking about relatively current stuff.
Rules.
I can self-police.
Constraints give meaning to the segment.
I don't know what the relevance of it is in the first place. Give recognition.
Look,
it's so that by the end of the year we can go back and be like,
Yeah.
you know, these are the games of the month that we had over the years. So it makes the recap at the end. You know, how do you feel about this now versus like 9 months ago, et cetera, et cetera.
So yeah, Super Metroid, Game of the Month.
There we go. There we go. Game of the Month from May. And that's going to take us into everybody's favorite segment. It's Ask Roundtable time. Rob, that's where you go, woo! Woo! Ask Roundtable is
You
the
matched
weekly...
the pitch really well.
He did. Ask Roundtable is the weekly segment where you send your questions into roundtableyt@gmail.com and we answer them. This question comes from Josh. Hi, Josh. Says, you guys are the bomb. Thanks.
Thanks.
Since the Witcher Netflix series was met with so much pessimism by a certain member of the podcast, I'm curious.
Was that me or was that? Oh, that was.
I actually don't remember. Was it?
No,
me?
it was Ryan.
I think it was me.
It might have been
Ryan. I was excited for it until Ryan shat on my dreams.
I'm curious what franchise from any form of media you all think would translate well into a new video game series. Obviously one that hasn't been made already, but books, movies, shows, manga, anything is fair game, as long as it doesn't already involve a controller. Let me know what you guys think. He also requests a Nick's Weird Game theme song to the tune of the Pokemon theme. He says, you got to back me up on this one, Bear. It'll be amazing. And I think he's right. So I've given you the task there, buddy. Now, which franchise do you guys think would translate well into a new video game series? Let's go for ones that haven't been made yet, ideally. I've got one that I've been pondering on for a little while here.
Let me interrupt you.
Sure.
Nightmare mode. You can't say Telltale style adventure game.
Fuck. Give me a few.
Nightmare
Yes,
mode.
hold on, I got one.
Transition in.
I got a real one here. I want to see something in the One Punch Man universe, but not a fighting game, because all that would be is you get up to One Punch Man at the end and he just beats you with one punch, and then that's the joke, and you know, get it. But we can't do that. We got to do something like, I actually really like the idea of playing some sort of maybe like RPG / fighting game where you enter as just like some wash-up nobody trying to raise through the ranks of the Hero Academy in that universe, which I think is really interesting.
DBZ Xenoverse style, basically.
Exactly, yeah, something like that. But in that One Punch Man, you know, the realm where they don't really take it as seriously, it's kind of like tongue-in-cheek, and they're self-aware to a certain extent, which I really enjoy about that whole universe anyway. But I think that could be pretty fun. Something like that. Any other ideas? Any other thoughts? Any other franchises from any form of media that you think would
all the
maybe
ones I
translate
can
well?
think of have already had bad games made out of
Yeah,
them.
That's what I keep
that's
going
the
to too.
challenge.
I'm like, no, that has a game. It's just bad.
Yeah.
Throw out a
My
few of
obvious-
those for us to consider too.
My obvious choice then would be Gantz, because it's structured basically like a video game would be anyway. The premise is all these people, through reality in certain situations, die for various reasons, and they get brought to this room where there's an orb filled with weapons, and they're told you have to hunt aliens now. And then they're sent off on a mission where many of them actually die in this mission, and then they don't exist anymore in real life. But if they survive, eventually they can accrue enough points to come back to their actual life. So that's like basically a video game premise, and there have been video games of it. Just to my knowledge, they've all been kind of bad.
Mm-hmm.
So a proper version of that would be lovely, because it seems like it shouldn't be that hard to do. But I don't make video games, so I shouldn't say that.
I've got one.
Okay.
There's a game coming out for it, but it's not out yet, so it doesn't count. And it's also going to be a mobile game, so it's also not going to count times 2. I'd love to see. I'd love to see like maybe like an open world RPG style game based in the Firefly universe. I would love not playing as the Firefly crew. I don't want to play as them. They have their story. It's told already. I want to play as my own character with my own crew in that world. That would be. I think that'd be really cool and a lot of fun. And there is a Firefly online game, quote unquote, coming to mobile, and it looks fucking awful. But I'd like to see a real AAA RPG in that world.
Sure. Yeah. Rob, I know you've got one.
Well, okay, so I have probably 2
Say
or
Doctor
3.
Who Telltale game.
Okay, so here's the thing. Yeah,
There's
if
already
we
a Doctor Who. There's already
You
a
want to
Doctor
watch
Who.
my head explode live on the show?
if we ignore Nightmare Mode,
Should
I
make a
actually
Steven Universe Telltale game.
no. Because
TV
here's the thing.
Universe is already. Oh,
I really think that it is a match made in heaven. I don't know why there hasn't been even talks about a Doctor Who Telltale game. Because
Because there's already a Doctor Who point and click out there that came out a few years ago and it was trash.
Well, yeah, but that's not made by Telltale.
It doesn't matter. It breaks the rules.
it was so bad it shouldn't count.
Yeah, like there's you got
I've played it.
Telltale Doctor Who would just makes sense. Like that's just what the show's
You know,
about.
play out
But
like
anyway.
every fucking Telltale game in existence.
Telltale
Well,
Big Brother.
Telltale.
But
Telltale.
the other thing that I would say is another obvious one, which would be like a proper Game of Thrones game, but like one that would not be necessarily like, oh, we're playing Skyrim, but it's in Westeros. Like it would be like, you know, with more of sort of like the CK2 Game of Thrones mod, you know, but not necessarily that, but with those kind of ideas where you have the intrigue and you have the backstabbing and the plots and shit like that. Like that seems fun to me in an RPG style scenario.
Civ, a Game of Thrones Civ game.
I wouldn't be against it.
That's not a bad idea.
I'm down. And then my third one is a little bit farther out, which is sort of like Mathis's thing with Firefly, except it's set in the Expanse universe, because the Expanse has a really, really cool world. I don't know how many people have watched the Expanse. Probably none.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, no.
It's like it's a sci-fi show, but it's set in the somewhat near future, and like Earth and Mars are in this Cold War.
Is it British or something?
No, actually,
It's American.
I've
it's
never heard of it.
It's on Sci-Fi, so that's probably why.
It's
but
pretty new too.
But it's it's way above the quality of a typical sci-fi show. But it's got a really interesting universe in that, like, you know, there are 3 factions that are kind of at odds with one another. Like they're the poor people that live in the asteroid belt mining, and then Mars and Earth, and some cool stuff. I don't know. I think it would be a cool RPG. It's a really good show, by the way. I would highly recommend it.
One of the stars of that show, she's got an awesome name. Shorey Agdashlu.
That is a pretty.
I thought you were
badass
going to say
name,
she's
though.
got an awesome ass.
I'm sure she does.
Yeah.
Actually, it's a Canadian show. The more you know.
Wow.
Okay, they just send the push notification to your phone. The newsletter.
What about a Black Mirror video game?
What would that be?
If you do it Telltale style, then you could probably get away with
not
it.
a Telltale style though, like an actual video
Telltale
game.
fucking Black Mirror episode. There's a combo for you.
I don't know how you would pull it off, but I feel like it could be incredible. I guess it's the David Cage game that's never been made yet.
I'm with Mathis. I get enough depression watching that show. I don't need to play it.
Yeah.
No, I want it to be so insidious that it haunts your dreams every night.
I couldn't finish the show, man. It was too heavy for me.
I'm kind of with you. I don't want to go back. Every time I go back, I'm like, surely it won't be as terrible this time.
It is.
It's a piece of media, though.
I get it. It's just not.
It's so like this is a
entertain me as
very
much as it just makes me
tangential
sad.
conversation, but like it's the scenarios that they concoct in that show are so real and relatable as compared to like standard media fare that like it makes me think, oh fuck, this could actually happen to me.
I think I've watched all but 2 episodes now, and I love them a lot. And the production values are so good. Can't believe it.
This is so well written.
Anyway,
Brooker's a genius.
Josh, thank you for asking what's your favorite current Netflix series. Appreciate that one, buddy.
Soon to be The Witcher.
Thank you, Josh, for the question. If you've got a question, send it on over to roundtableyt@gmail.com.
Nobody cares to know what I would
Oh,
like
no,
to have as a
that's
video
right.
game.
No, I
Somehow.
did. I forgot you. My bad. What you got? What you got?
You know, what'd be really cool is if you like combined Hacknet and Deus Ex with the Mr. Robot license. You had like a little Mr. Robot hacking espionage game. Can I admit something to you?
Yes.
Yes.
Never seen an episode of Mr. Robot. Seems like it would fit the theme, though.
You know what? You're not wrong. Having seen the first season of the show, I think you're onto something there. So good job guessing.
It could work. It could work.
Yeah.
You get the Twitter synopsis when the show's up anyway. Everybody's like freaking out on Twitter about every episode.
Actually, like in that respect, you could do something like sort of Miss the Robot, but like it's a management game where you're managing like hacking cells. You know, like groups of people that are well, because that's basically.
Oh, you mean a game where you play as the CIA?
Well, kind of, yeah. Like, but you're kind of hacking hacktivists instead. And
hacking the hacktivists.
You're setting up cells all over the country. You know, doing different missions.
Okay.
So you're like counter terrorism.
Yeah.
Kinda, yeah. Which I guess is just terrorism.
No, it's just counter-terrorism, isn't it? There's a math problem behind that. And
Yeah. All right. I didn't forget anybody this time, right? We're good. Okay, cool. Well, that's going to do it then. That's going to send us into everybody's favorite segment. After their favorite segment, it's time for Nick's Weird Games.
All right, this is Nick's Weird Games to the tune of the Pokemon theme song.
Hell
I have
yeah.
a karaoke backing track. As always, the added caveat that I cannot sing. And the second part of that is there is a part in the chorus where it goes like, Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. But then as the all comes out, it also bleeds into another line.
That's some studio magic, man. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to imagine that part.
Sure.
And can I get a bass note for like I want to be the very best?
No, that's too high, isn't it?
It's
I want to be like animals, careless and free.
Can we just be a really shitty version of the Warp Zone and do our own acapellas?
Something like that, okay. I mean, there's like a backing track on this karaoke track, but it doesn't make it into my brain.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Dun, 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 dun.
let's give it a second here.
Let that warm up.
I want to guess a Nick's Weird game that no one's ever played. It got a 5 from IGN. It's a mediocre game.
Do.
Nick will scan across his shelf, searching far and wide. More weird games that did so bad, the studio died. Nick's Weird Games, gotta guess them for PS3. Published by Atari. Nick's Weird Games, like Token, no one's played it till the end. Weird Games, gotta guess them like really, dude. A flight sim for PS2. Sturmovik, yes, IL2. Nick's Weird Games. Gotta guess them all. Gotta guess them all. Nick's Weird Games.
Yay! Woo!
I applaud the commitment.
Have you ever seen, there's like a 2017 version of the guy who sang the song singing it again?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, it is really... It's kind of creepy.
Yeah. That voice.
Serious.
I can't believe that voice comes out of that man.
That man? Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Shit.
Next week, you guys got to do a Nick's Weird Games, but Pokemon rap style. So just rattle off a bunch of games.
I have the list of all the games that we've done already, so you
There
can
you go.
include.
Oh, dude.
Perfect.
There you
All
go.
right.
There's
Hang
like 90 of them, though, so I have to do several segments.
This will be 89, excuse me.
Yeah, well,
Lickitung, Sneasel.
Sneasel?
Sneasel?
Sneasel.
One.
Oh,
actual one.
that's the fake one. Yeah.
No, it's a real Pokemon.
Sneasel is?
Yeah.
He's right after
Yeah.
Lickitung.
Sneasel, and he evolves into Weavile.
You're fucking
Don't
with
we have
me.
a
Stop.
segment that we do
Straight
here?
up.
I think we have a segment. It's Nick's Weird Games. Close your chats. Nick's gonna help us.
He's like Sneasel's like angry looking.
Yeah.
Is he?
Sneasel?
Oh fuck! Now you got me on this
Gen.
dick.
That's Gen 2.
I should know this.
Yeah.
He's dark and
He's
ice.
pissed. Yeah.
He's got like a little claw hands.
I expected him to be like adorable and cuddly. You know, like
I don't like this one. I must have disregarded its name because I didn't like it. Yeah, it looks like a weird Meowth, but like a lizard version of a Meowth.
Yeah.
That's also a
Hold
mole.
on, chat. I'll help you out
Evil
here. Here you go.
I thought it was fake.
Yeah, there it is.
Look at the
All right, you
Sneasel
wanna
with
play-
us,
All
chat.
right, let's do it.
You
Let's
wanna
do
play
Nick
Nick's
Wheeler's
Weird
games. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
All right. This is probably not going to be super hard, but I'm guessing you've never heard of this game, even though you've heard of the genre or the type of game that it's a series of. So we're talking about a GameCube game today. So that already narrows the field quite greatly.
Quite a bit, yeah.
Apparently, it also came out on PS2, but I've never seen... Oh, because it was only in Japan, that's why. So we're only talking about the GameCube version.
Mm-hmm.
Came out March 2004. It's both single and multiplayer.
Okay.
Let me stop you right there.
Yeah.
Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg.
I don't own that, but that's...
Is it published by Majesco?
No. Wait, yes, actually.
Goblin Commander.
Yes, no, it's not that.
I thought he had it.
I didn't even look at the publisher when you'd said it, so that's why I was actually taken aback by you saying it's by
funny.
Majesco.
All right, let's keep
So, yeah,
going.
published by Majesco, developed by Hudson Soft. So take a shot right now. That might be all you need.
They're the they're the Adventure Island guys, but they have like one other property. That's all. When you think about Hudson, there's always like it's Smarmy, and it's like a little like fake Mario guy. What's that Hudson property?
Well, I can't tell you.
It's not Bomberman. Maybe it is a kind of Bomberman.
Oh, it's Bomberman. It's a Bomberman.
What? Why do you think that?
Because the way your
Hudson.
face contorted.
What else we got? Tell us a little bit more.
It's a Bomberman.
Is it a Bomberman?
Is it a Bomberman?
It must be a Bomberman.
I think it's a Bomberman.
All right, game features a normal mode, a battle mode, a standard battle, a battle 1-2, battle for balloons, and knockout battle, as well as a mansion.
Is it
a bomber mansion?
This is either Bomberman or fucking Mario Party that you're describing.
Guys, I'm really desperate for games at this point. And
Who said we weren't gonna get it?
Wait,
no, I said you were gonna get it. I said this was fairly easy.
Oh, I misheard. So it's a Bomberman then.
It uses cell shading, like the previous games.
So it's a Bomberman.
I'm gonna say 3.
That's one of those
Japanese
Bomberman games.
theme song is called Boku wa Gakapuchi,
Yeah,
Oh.
and then it shoots the dragon out of the.
and it
bomb.
was replaced with a rock
Could
instrumental.
it perhaps be Bomberman 3?
No.
4.
Mujo and the Hige Bandits were sick and tired of
Bomberman Generations.
No, try other words.
Okay.
It's not
Bomberman
Act
Decades.
Zero or whatever it's
No,
called.
that was only on Xbox 360.
Bomberman Rebirth.
Bomberman Ultimate Edition.
Bomberman Reloaded.
Bomberman.
This is a problem because I can't even remember the Bomberman that came out for Switch 3 months ago. So
That was like a letter, right? It was like R
Yeah.
or something.
Bomberman.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Bomberman.
Bomberman C.
Man.
I mean,
Bomberman
Jeff's
Man.
gotten it, but like this is
Bomberman
stupid.
Aftershock.
This is like, can you guess the correct word?
I know.
Bomberman Infinite.
There aren't
Bomberman
even any
Tropical
ways
Island.
that I could give you more hints because you know what series it is. So now it's just, can you guess the word?
Bomberman.
Give us a hint at the word.
High Flying Adventures.
Bomberman Planes.
Bomberman Balloon.
No,
Bomberman Air Riders.
no.
Bomberman.
Oh, so nobody's actually played this one, I assume. Then GameCube Bomberman game. Nobody's played it.
Well, actually, probably like way back in the day. Bombermans of Icarus.
Bomberman.
Bomberman.
Take me by the
I don't know what to
hand,
do
lead
here.
me
Should I
to
just
the
give you
light.
guys
Yeah,
the
give
point
it.
and
Yeah,
say
we're just
what?
gonna. Yeah.
It's gonna be a bomb time. Bomberman
Anybody
takes
heard
me
of
back.
Bomberman Jetters?
Nope.
No.
This
Bomberman
exists.
Jetters.
Jetters.
Wow.
There he is. He's a man.
Huh.
He's got bombs and jetters.
We will not be making any YouTube ad revenue from this video.
Uh-oh.
For showing it to the camera.
Yeah,
No,
man.
it's got the word bomber
Is
in
the
it.
word bomb in the title?
The Hige Bandits are going to crash their artificial comet Darkstar into planet Bomber. As Bomberman, you must destroy the 4 engines that propel Darkstar before it is too late. All new Chara bombs, all new bombs, and same great Bomberman action.
Well, all right.
I don't think I ever played this. I don't know why I own this.
Bomberman Jetters.
It's got a red pterodactyl and like vines and bombs. How do you fuck up Bomberman, by the way? It's just squares. It's squares within squares you put bombs down.
You know, people shit on Call of Duty for making the same game over and over again, but
Bomberman is just Bomberman.
it's just Bomberman.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know. Chat scrolled way too much to even pick a winner here. This one was a bit of a shit show. Sorry about that.
that was a hell of a segment.
Apparently Tomo threw up.
Oh, what?
Yeah, it's an indication that I have to go.
All right. Well, let's wrap this up then. Hey, everybody, thank you very much for watching this episode of Roundtable Live. Oh, God, that's the echo. We appreciate it. Thank you very much for being out here on twitch.tv/Roundtable Podcast. Of course, that's where you can find us every single week, streaming here live at 3 o'clock Pacific, 6 o'clock Eastern Time. I want to thank our subscribers from today, Space Your Name, Nekusol, and Quicken. Thank you all very much. I'm going to try to do my best to remember to do that at the end of the episodes here. We really appreciate you guys subscribing to the channel here. That does support us, of course. You can also support us over on Patreon. That's patreon.com/roundtable, where we want to thank our patrons at the $20 level and above, which include Julian Avelsgaard, Jonathan Graham, Scotty119, Ricky Greist, Ellis Spice, John Kalchik, O. Thomas Games BR, Jakar Sampson, With the Dance Number, Kulnar, Sahoa, Jamie Tinsley, Joseph Boss, Penn Gillette, Michael Bush Larson, Talks to Wall, TJ Majesty, Chaos, A Full Commitment's What I'm Thinking of, Theorist, Colby Klein, Greenlight, Oren Saltzman, Christopher Flagg, Eric Schooley, Brizzlebrip, Positron, Myth Scarab, Mediocrities, Justin, Summerfet, and Logan Ray. Thank you guys very much for keeping that
Thanks,
list
everybody.
so long every time I read it. I really do appreciate that so much. Thank you. If you missed any part of today's show, you can catch the VOD over on our YouTube channels. That is, of course, BaerTaffy, along with Mathis Games and Rock Lee Smile. AlpacaPatrol, thank you for joining us today as well. Where can they find your stuff?
I'm AlpacaPatrol everywhere, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. Actually, tomorrow, probably somewhere in the 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. range, we're going to do a movie night. So we're going to be watching a public domain movie. We already did Night of the Living Dead and Nosferatu. There's a straw poll actually up on my Twitter right now if you want to vote on the movie night.
Reefer Madness.
Yeah, actually, Reefer Madness is up there on the list, too.
I watched that a couple times. It's pretty wild.
It's a good time, yeah.
It's short,
fun.
too. You could probably watch it, no problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think right now what's winning is Little Shop of Horrors, I'm pretty sure. But,
nice.
Yeah, maybe Last Man on Earth, who knows? We'll see.
Cool. All right, I'm going to go let Ryan clean up some cat puke. Thank you all very much for watching this episode of Roundtable Live, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Later.
Bye. Play the music. Play the music. There it is.
Dude, weed.
All right, there it is. Bye.
Yeah.
Weed.